Here we go. Crossing fingers. We're live, apparently. Hello, everyone. Let us know if you can hear us in the chat. And a big hello Saturday to you. Right, cool. Looking at the stream health, it says good, excellent. Those sort of words, that's good. Andy, are you working? You're working, good.
Seems to be, yes. Hello, hello.
I just want to make sure.
How's the level, by the way? Is it all right?
Yeah, your level's good.
Okay, cool.
We shouldn't have to touch any of this, really. If yeah, unless we're mucking around with it.
Yeah, that's the theory.
That is the theory. We are waiting on Lisa and Darren, and I haven't heard anything from Darren. He's a bit like that. Oh, there he is. Look at that.
Yeah, well, speak of the devil. Look at that. How did you do that, Darren? That was amazing.
I don't know. I've not been in the studio for the whole week because it's been so hot. And as soon as you come to do it and not touched anything, things don't work.
You see? See, Rance told you.
That's what was happening with me about 5 minutes ago, wasn't it, Andy? You can tell him.
Yep. Yeah. Well, it's your fault, Darren. I'm going to blame you.
Yeah.
But I've not touched anything since I closed down virtually last week. I mean, literally not touched a thing. I don't think even air's blown through the room. It's been that warm. I've stayed out of it. And then as soon as I switch on, no connections for anything.
I haven't plugged
I've got all the windows open.
Me thingy.
You say what? Your thingy what? What thingy?
That.
What's your thingy? Oh, yeah. Your Akai. Oh, is that little controller thing, is it?
Yeah, so I can go, pew. And then I can go,
pew.
And then I can go,
Inky Lisa.
Pew. There we go. All right. Hey, peoples. Hey, peoples that are saying hey. Everyone that said hello to me in chat, I'm saying hello to you collectively, but let me just pick out a few. Adamski, hello to you.
Yeah.
Corrosive Abuser, Sasquatch, Azio Head, and anyone else that said hello, everyone. That would, I guess, be me. So hello back to you.
Sorry.
All right. So we've got a few technical things that we need to sort out with Lisa. I'm hoping that everything should be working with my stuff. Let me just double check. Let's see if we've got sound. Let me know if you guys can hear this.
No.
Hear that? You're lying. So everything should be okay there. Right. Now, this is if you've never is what I meant to say. If you've never been to this show before and it's the first time you've watched it and you're thinking to yourself, what the hell is this show about? This show is about music technology. We're kind of geeks in that sort of realm. And there's no corporate influence here. It's all just a bunch of musicians, or try to be musicians in my case. And we're just going to check out a few things. This particular show, we're going to be checking out a new firmware update on a device that a lot of people know as the MPC, which is made by a company called Akai, or Akai if you're from the US. I actually don't know which is the correct way to pronounce it. Maybe the Japanese say Akai, I'm not sure. I've always said
ask
Akai.
Wagyu when he appears.
I think the English also say Akai. As well. Yeah, I think we've always said Akai. It's a bit like how we say Moog. It just really annoys people. Anyway, there'll be memes now. There'll be the Akai people and there'll be the Akai people. And they'll also be the same people who'll be the Moog people as well. And then there'll probably be the Behringer people as well as the Behringer people.
Well, they're just wrong. They're just wrong. Just simply wrong.
Yeah, just make them wrong. They can just walk around all day with a sticky note on their forehead that says wrong.
Yeah. How difficult is it to say Behringer? It's not hard.
It's not hard to say Behringer.
Behringer.
That's the other one. Vangelis or Vangelis. I mean, you can be jealous of the Vangelis if you like.
As it's Greek, Vangelis.
It's Vangelis. And I've actually heard him say, I think in an interview a long time ago, he actually said his name was Vangelis. So someone will probably throw Synths or something at the screen now because they've been saying it Vangelis for all these years, and all of a sudden they're like, oh my God, I've been saying it wrong. Yep.
Saburo Akai. Bell ringer. Bell ringer. Stop it, Martin. Now.
We've got to get Martin. We've got to get Alex. Alex did a great meme during the week. Bear, with a picture of a bear ringing a bell. You can work out the rest. I won't be showing that meme tonight, though. Yeah, Robbie's going, Jean Michael Jarre. That was a great one. Jean Michael Jarre. I think there's an album he did in the 80s called Concerts in China, and they had a Chinese person introduce him, and I think he pronounced. I think he said Jarre. Jean-Michel Jarre, like that. I don't think he was too happy. Depeche Mode.
Wow. Well, there was a tendency to call it Depeche Mode. Depeche, as in like as though it got an accent on it, but it hasn't.
Like an attaché case. You can take your Depeche with you.
Depeche. And sort of all those little slanty accents and things.
Yeah.
And the writing.
So now that we've scared off all the new, we've scared off all the new people. Oh dear.
Come on, Lisa, where are you?
She's trying to get her camera. She's trying to get her camera.
With a stream of verbal abuse. Yeah, we know. The merciless bullying that I got last night on Pro Synth Network from her.
Robbie, I joined your club, if you want to call it that, the affinity of people that can't pronounce our names, because my actual long version of my name is Randall, and everyone spells it wrong. Everyone says Rudolph, Ronald. There's all sorts of millions of different ways people think to say that. And for many years ago, my grandma called me Ranz, and that stuck. So I have, since that day, I have been known as Ranz.
Yep.
So there you go.
Ranzee.
Who else has a name that people just fail to get right in the chat? Let us share us a bit of love. We feel your pain. See, not like it's people like Andrew and Darren. I mean, they're really easy names, aren't they? Do you guys ever get?
Yeah. They're so easy. Wrong? I've had letters addressed to Mrs. Andrea Bruce. Which
yeah, but we don't want to know. We don't want to know about your drag alter ego there.
Well, yeah, Miss Stillies and me pink feather boa. That's me.
Oh, that's hilarious.
Singing Marilyn Monroe songs. Honestly.
Andrea Bruce. Oh, that'd be the awesome name for your next act, I think. And now we're going to present Andrea Bruce.
I wanna be loved by you, just you, nobody else but you.
Oh God, don't get me going.
And whoa, he's going to be doing Liberace classics.
A long time ago, in a galaxy far, far away, somebody actually did that once on a stage with the full kit and caboodle and a pair of Dr. Martin boots.
Oh, nice.
Don't ask. Student reviews.
Was it a bet?
Was it? You know, I can't even remember how on earth it came about. But Andy, you're doing Marilyn Monroe, am I? All right, brilliant.
Sounds like the sort of thing you get up to at uni, doesn't it?
Oh, it was. That's precisely what it was. You know, the halls of residence, end of year sort of silly party things that we always. Oh, it was a laugh. Who cares? A long time ago, it was. I'm probably 20 or something like that.
we're giving Darren material for his park bench performance now. So he's thinking about costumes now, and
Yeah, I just want Andy to play it, and there we go.
You just want Andy to play what?
I don't know what you said then because it
A
went
quick melody.
You want me to play a quick melody?
Oh, what was that famous quote? Play a little melody. There's a famous
That's
quote.
Taschenrechner, you know. And when I press this special key, it plays a little melody.
Yeah.
Or wenn ich diese Taste
Lisa.
drücke, spielt ein kleines Musikstück in German. Lisa, we got you. Woohoo!
Hi, Lisa.
Lisa is here.
Lisa's here with no audio. Hang about. She's going. I'm trying it. She's gonna do this. She's gonna do the Star Trek Scotty accent in a minute. I'm pushing it as fast as I can, Jimmy.
It's just breaking up. Let's not do that. It's bad enough as it is.
I do the worst Scottish accent.
Well, we got a picture, Lisa. It's just that. Let's move in.
She can do sign language, or she can write notes and just hold them up.
We like to make a thanks, Daniel. No, I've left those days long behind me. Doing Marilyn Monroe.
He likes to find air vents in streets.
Quite. 7-year itch.
There's a couple next to my park bench.
Ooh. You got some more ideas now, Darren. So what's the weather like in your neck of the woods today? Is it warmer or hotter or
cooler?
Cooler?
A lot cooler. It's very lovely. Yes, 20 degrees, very lovely.
Good. Yeah. That's not much different to mine.
The past week's been just nightmare. That's why I've not been in the studio. It's been that bad. It has been terrible.
Yeah, it has been unbearable. Yeah.
Can I tell you something completely, while we're just waiting on Lisa, can I tell you something that's completely weird and it's got nothing to do with music tech? I just thought, today I did something that I've never ever done before, and I did what they call a waterless car wash. It's the first time I've ever done one, where you buy a little bottle of whatever, spray stuff, and you use two different microfiber cloths. You use like one to rub it on, which is like a rub off the dirt sort of thing, and use the other one to buff it off. It actually looks really good. You guys ever used a waterless wash before on your car?
No, I did mine this morning with a lot of water and got absolutely soaked.
Yeah, quick detail.
It was a little.
It's not working.
Oh
well.
I've got Lisa.
I've got you now.
We can hear you.
Yeah, but I can't hear you. I'm not going. It's not coming through the sound card. I can just about hear you through the computer screen.
Oh, okay. You need to change what?
Yeah, I mean, it's the microphone set to the sound card. I just don't really get it.
So you need to set the output
very clear
to the same thing, sound card.
You're coming through clear.
Yep, but normally you don't have to set the outgoing. There isn't an outgoing setting, is there? It's just mic setting.
There isn't, but it might be in your actual are you using PC or Mac? It'll be in your system settings. What you're listening to.
I'm on a Mac, but
so just change what
you're on a Mac.
So it's not as easy to get to your settings on a Mac.
So you just go to
right. Hold on.
I got a Mac right here. What do you mean it's
just
not easy to
audio
get to a Mac?
video.
There's a Mac right there. No, I'm just kidding. You go system preferences, and then you would go to sound, and then you would just choose play sound effects through, or whatever is your default. You should be able to select a default interface if you've got multiple. And there's also a button up the top which looks like a little speaker that you can click, and it has a drop down, and you should be able to select the output. But that might be, I've got Big Sur, which is the most recent for operating system, so that might not be on yours. I don't know what version you've got.
Yeah, it's still on the. I'm running flipping. Oh God, what am I running?
Snow Leopard.
No, but it's not far off.
He's running a Macintosh 1.
Is it Sierra? Higher Sierra?
Higher Sierra, yeah, it'd be on that. You get the little microphone up the task, sort of like near where your date and clock is. You click on that and it drops down, and you should be able to select what output device you want. Mine's got Mac Mini speakers, MX1, Rubik's 24, and it's also got some weird...
What's Lisa doing with the Mac anyway? I thought she was all PC.
I thought she was PC as well. What's going on? She's crossed to the dark side.
No, she's had a
That
Mac
must be
for
the
ages
old
'cause
Mac.
she's been using Logic. She's been using Logic.
That's true, yeah. That must be on a very old
Logic
Mac,
is only available on a Mac.
Well, you know what we should do? Well, we're just going to have to rock on with the show, so let's hit this magic button and we'll keep going. Hey, welcome to another Saturday. You've made it. Well done. Give yourself a pat on the back for making it through another week. I reckon that's a pretty damn good effort if you don't say so yourself. This week we've got some cool stuff to get through, as we usually do and we usually say every week. But this week's special, we're going to be talking about the MPC. There's a new firmware that's come out which has rattled ripples across the world. In fact, I've heard that it almost took out the coronavirus. Good job there, Akai, but not quite, not quite. But what we'll do is we'll say g'day to our video guests first. Now, I think, Lisa, have you got audio?
I'm back, yes.
Okay, beautiful. Let's do ladies first. And welcome back to Lisa. A big hello to you. How's your week been?
Well, it's been MPC update week, so it's been brilliant, hasn't it? I mean, that makes your year, doesn't it?
Oh, absolutely. It's a great day. It's like a birthday.
Yeah, and Christmas. Free good, everyone. So, yeah.
Fantastic. Well, it's really good to have you because we'd love to pick your brains because you're a bit of an MPC guru, as we like to say. So we'll get to that shortly. Is there anything else that's been happening other than MPC that you want to quickly mention? Nope.
No, I've just been joining in hardware jams, really, and having fun with that. That's it.
Oh, and they've been really good too. I have been keeping an eye on them. Fantastic. Yes. Give him a plug too, Lisa. We'll probably, if we get a chance, we'll see if we can give him a good plug because it's a great group, definitely. There'll be people here that haven't heard of him. That is for sure. Yeah. All right. Thanks for coming on. And it's obviously we're going to have more Lisa later, which obviously will be a good thing. But let's also say hello to Darren. Darren, how's your week been, mate?
Damn hot.
Yeah. Yep.
No, that's it. It's been hot, and I've not been in the studio because it's just been too hot. And so I came in today earlier on to get a track ready for tomorrow, or to finish the track and video off. And for some reason, I can't seem to render my video down. So here's hoping for tomorrow. But other than that, yeah, it's been okay. Been good.
You can always give it a little whack on the side of the screen. Sometimes that helps it render.
I've whacked it and all. Oh, better calm down. I've hit it and all sorts. What have I told you?
Nothing. We're good. Let's go to Andy. Andy, why is that button not working, Andy?
Just knew he'd be there.
Oh,
Leave it alone.
Don't you leave your buttons out of this. Hello, everyone. Are we all right? Yes. Yeah. Hello.
Hello.
What should I say?
Anything you like.
And right. Not done anything this week. A bit like Darren said, it's been so hot. As soon as I switch things on in here, it becomes impossible. So I've not really done an awful lot this week, but now the temperature's a lot cooler. I've got a gig on the 29th of August. That's definitely confirmed. Don't know at what time of the day. I don't know how long the set will be, but it's on the 29th of August. If anybody's in the Sheffield area and fancies coming to the Cremorne on the 29th of August, I'll be doing a little set, which means that between now and the 29th of August, I've got to get it sorted out, haven't I? There's nothing like a deadline, as they say, for making you get off your bum and do something. So that's my motivation. So you're all cordially invited to the Cremorne pub, because it's a little 3-day mini festival at the Cremorne. So
Oh, that'd be awesome.
More details to follow, no doubt.
Well, I would love it if someone could get a camera in there because obviously I can't make
Oh,
it.
they will be doing, yeah. Yeah, they will be doing. Even Jamie mentioned about popping over, so I don't know if he will. I'll ping him a message. But it is bank holiday weekend, so people may have other commitments. But they're definitely talking about having the whole lot filmed and put up online somehow, somewhere, somewhen. And I'll make sure I've got a little mini recorder to record what I do as well. So.
Brilliant. That's really good news. I actually, I reckon it's going to be so good when the world starts to perform again. I think we miss it big time. We miss it.
Yeah, definitely looking forward to that. Got a real buzz out of that already.
And also, I noticed was it last weekend? You guys had the British Formula One Grand Prix, and there was something like 350,000 people over I think it's a 3-day event that turned up there. That's a pretty decent turnout.
Yeah. I think it was 140 on the actual day.
And they wonder why the rates of coronavirus infection have been going up and up and up. Well,
there'll be definite cases.
What a mystery! Who could work? I can possibly work out why that's the case.
Australia's locked down.
We're all locked down over here. Yep. Actually, where I live, we're not, but the other states on the other side of the country are. We're just this forgotten little backwater over here. Let's say hello to the chatties, which obviously aren't showing. I don't know why they're not showing.
Press the chatties button.
I have pressed the chatties
button.
button.
Come on, Ranz, get a grip.
I know why they're not showing. I think I forgot to paste the URL in. Let's try it now. Bim, there they are, look at that. Fantastic. Woo. Good to see these awesome people that we call chatties. So let's just randomly pick out a bunch of participants, we'll call it. So big hello to, I think Andy, who is Synthetic, was first. He gets the yellow Guernsey for the week. Azio Head, a big hello to you. Corrosive Abuser is there. Robbie Puricelli is also known as Failed Muso. He's there. Human Errors there. JP Page 2. We have Stephen as Mac. Martin Taylor. Robert Fat Dust Heschk is an awesome
good
name. And I think you're new. So a big newbie welcome to you. And if you've been here before, I do apologise, but I'm pretty sure that's the first time I've seen you.
Hello.
Sasquatch is also here. Sinriser is here. Keithan Watford is here. And X101, we haven't seen X101 for a little while, so that's really good. That is just a little snippet. I think Adamski, we said hello to him. And who else?
Dazza. Dazza's
there. Good old Dazza. Staying up late. Taking one for the Eastern States of Australia. Daniela's there. Sensian coming in right at the last second. Look at that. A welcome pouring in. Human Error, I think I mentioned. Who else?
Darren, Intergalactic Federation, who's there.
Merbert, they're new, aren't they?
Who's that?
Merbert. Merbert is
Merbert.
Hello.
See Merbert. Hello, Merbert.
Merbert Ancriwally. No, I've seen him before. That's a good name.
That one's just come in at the last second. Yes, nice work. Big hello. Look at that. Fantastic. Nice to have you. What we do, if you're new to this show, is we do a couple of regular segments, and we start off with trying a little bit attempt to try and see if you can just have a small laugh. See how it goes. Let us know afterwards. Yes, it's a bit of a hard task for me. Anyway, stranger things may happen. These things that we come across on the internet are called memes. And as I used to call them when... no, I won't say that. My daughter will kill me. Right. What are we going to do? So we're going to go into this one first. Yes. Who are we? Electron users. What do we want? Deeper menus. When do we want it? Shift, function, global settings, scroll to preferences, enter, scroll to what answers, enter, scroll to end, scroll to now, shift, enter. Now! That is brilliant. And for those owners of Electron, fist bump, we all unite with that one. Okay, next. Boom. Wrong answers only, everyone. What is this used for? So it
looks rude.
I did post this on.
Does it?
On a famous group.
Why, Lisa?
It looks like some sort of medical device. What?
Yeah, wrong answers only, is like I said. Would you like a little snippet of the 50,000 wrong answers that I got when I posted this on one of the groups? I'll give you a little snippet. Where are we? It's disappeared now. Here we go.
Stereo jack plug attached to a stylus of some kind.
Wow, this is getting 105 answers. I got 105.
It's obviously a connector. It's connecting into something by touch.
Meet to CV adapter was one.
Meat.
I'm not going to say some of these are terrible.
No, it's best not,
Volca Sync.
Volca Sync.
Oh, if you don't get that, that would probably break the internet, that one. That's how you plug in your air guitar. Was another one, which I thought was pretty good. This is the new connectivity device for those who like music and also do knitting, was another answer. Look, there's a million. Yeah. Anyway, so anyway,
voltage control crochet.
Yes, and we won't talk about any probe answers because there was most of those are too R-rated for this show. Anyway, moving right along, we also have this one, which I thought was pretty good. Can vegans eat pudding? Negative. You can't have any pudding if you don't eat your meat. Come on, finish it off. Finish it off, Andy. What does it say after that?
So we can't eat your meat. Don't know. Sorry, where are you going with that one?
Pink Floyd, The Wall album.
Don't know it, actually, to be honest.
Oh, you don't know it?
Oops,
does anyone
there's
here
a
know
shocking
it?
admission.
Does anyone know it? You can't have any pudding if you don't eat your meat. How can you have your pudding how can you have your meat if you don't eat your pudding? I think it is something like that. Someone will remember it in the chat. In fact, let's see if someone remembers it in the chat. Another Brick in the Wall, part 2.
Yeah,
there we
Robert
go.
Does Head says that. Another Brick in the Wall, part 2.
Brilliant.
Yes,
Brilliant.
sorry. Yeah, I know Dark Side of the Moon and Wish You Were Here, and that's my limit, really. I'm sorry about that.
That's all right. That one is probably a 70s-esque type meme. For those who are younger than that, I do apologise. Gary Newman is actually 13 days older than Gary Oldman.
Very good.
Fun fact.
Very clever.
Fun fact. That is the memes for the week, ladies and gentlemen. Which was your favourite?
Electron.
First one.
Electron?
Yeah.
The Electron one was funny, actually, to be fair.
Darren?
Electron was funny.
Yeah, the first one, Electron.
Electron. That for me was probably my pick as well. Fantastic.
Are you actually going to tell us the answer, though?
What's the answer?
To what that thing is, or is it just a picture of a thing that somebody's made up just to confuse people? Or is it a real thing? Or is it suddenly April the 1st and I've not realised?
It's an Apple Pencil that you can now plug into something.
I actually have no idea. And I saw it on something
It's obviously connecting, like the lyra with your finger. It's that kind of thing, isn't it?
Okay,
sorry.
The closest thing, Lisa, that I got to as a correct answer was, I believe in the 80s they used to have these 1/4 inch jack to a prong connection inside your microwave that you would put inside your meat inside your microwave, and it would test the temperature of your meat as it spun around and ran around.
No way. That is not the answer.
That is the correct answer.
That's absolute no. No.
We don't want to.
Howard said it's a temperature probe of some kind. It's got to be a temperature.
No, actually, you're probably not far wrong there, because it's like one of those experimental sort of sound devices where you plug it into, you push the prong into some sort of food or anything, and then you put that into your audio connection and see what sounds it makes.
I mean,
it could be.
That meme there is actually probably linked to that meme there.
Well, you're sticking the plant soil and it'll tell you how the plant will talk to you via your audio interface.
Anyway, we shall move along. Chatties, what were your favourite memes of the week? Let's see. Theremin probe. Who else is saying what? Temperature probe was their favourite. Yeah, some people are saying temperature probe. There you go. See, I was pretty close. Sinriser says it's a scampy sound generator. I don't even know what that is, but that sounds cool. Some microwaves did come with temperature probes back in the day.
You stick it into some scamper.
Beautiful. Okie dokies. We
we
shall rock on with the next segment, which is called News.
No news this week.
There is. There's only this news. How's that? Hey?
Wicked.
Isn't that a thing
Wicked.
of beauty? How many people saw this and
yes.
thought to themselves,
Me.
I'm going to make my own VCS3?
What the? Well,
Probably just me.
well, it's a great looking thing, and I'm sure you probably saw Robin demonstrating it in his usually amazing way. Very funny. But what a thing.
I did.
Yeah.
So for those who are wondering what it is, let's have a little looky at the website.
Yeah, not cheap. That's quite right.
No, it's not. But okay, let's go straight to the price. It is 549 euros, including tax, or 590 excluding if you want. Retails shops around about the 26th of July. It's like 2 days away. It's Monday. So there you go. And I thought the article was a little bit rude because it said it had a backside. Anyway, it's the perfect tool for diversifying your experience. It's a nice little bit of market speak. But like what it's really is, it's basically a matrix that you can patch something in and send it somewhere else. If that makes it simple for you to understand, I think that's pretty much the gist of it. It's very similar to what they originally had on the VCS3. Now, they did have a Eurorack version of this not that long ago, so it was kind of inevitable that they'd bring the desktop one out. We might actually see if we can tune up the video from Robin in a sec. What do you guys think of this before we get into Robin's video? Does anyone sort of think, wow, I wouldn't mind something like this? I know, Lisa, you're not big in Eurorack. You've only got kind of a little bit of semi-modular stuff. But
yeah, but I can understand why it's good. I can understand why you'd want it. Yeah, it's like a big connection matrix. Yeah, so cool. Yeah.
But not for Lisa.
Not for me.
Oh.
Sorry, I just made a noise. I will go back to that in a sec. Darren, is that for you?
It could be. Yeah, I just like it's flashing lights and it just looks good, doesn't it? So it's going to be for me, isn't it? Whether I can use it or not.
Yeah. Same question, Andy.
I think that it really is one of those things. If you have a big modular system and you are trying to play live with it, I suspect that is something that would be extremely useful for minimizing the complexity of patching. You can immediately set up different patch routings at the push of a button rather than having to unplug and replug. So I can see people like Colin Benders really thinking, "Yeah, this is great. This will make my life so much easier." Or in a studio, if you've got a big sort of modular setup in a studio, then again, just for sort of like bringing things into one place. But I think you have to have a really good deep knowledge of your Eurorack system to be able to get the best out of that. I mean, I watched Robin's video and I was just thinking, I'm not sure how I would use that at the moment. I don't think I've got enough variety and depth there yet. So, but certainly its potential is obvious, really. Yeah,
I think for you, we actually had a chat about something very similar recently where you were talking about malts. And this is kind of like the ultimate malt.
Ordered them, by the way.
Oh, good. If you look at, there's big hello to Robin, who's showing off the, you can see the Erica Synth matrix down the bottom there next to its keystep. It's like the ultimate malt. And the reason why I say that is because they are buffered, the input to outputs, which means that you could have one LFO, for example, going in and going out to 16 different outputs, and it would maintain that signal strength across those 16. And I think that's probably the thing that makes this really good. Plus, it's DC coupled. It's the inputs and the outputs are independent, and there are also 256 connections that you can store in memory. It's crazy. But let's have a look at Robin's intro anyway. So.
Oh yeah. Hello, I'm Robin Vincent, and welcome to Multi-Modular. Today we're looking at
because that is going to be a video that I will link in the description if you guys want to watch that later. He does go for 51 minutes into this, so he will show you all the bits and pieces about what it is and what it does if you're so interested in that. I think we should move on to the next. What do you guys think? Next one?
Haha.
Next one is actually maybe a bit of a surprise to you guys. Yes, we have seen this before, but why are we showing this again? This is the question. Does anyone know why we're showing this again?
Because it's a nice picture.
Because it's got an iPad.
Good shout, Lisa. It's the iPad. Is it the operating? Is it the Is it the editor?
Nope, it is not.
Or has it had an update to turn it into a?
It has had an update. That is the correct answer.
Okay.
And this is my Mac running the app. I've actually got the Argon app. Will not work unless you've got it connected. Now, what it's good about it's called 2.4. It has new MIDI reliability on Big Mac, which we're calling Mac Big Sur. Arpeggiator sync when working with external sequences, which is actually something that I've been looking for. Expression of pedal behavior, LFO sync as well. And this is probably the big one. It actually has 300 new presets, which have MPE support for expressive play. The 300 presets is probably where I'm actually thinking that this probably needed it, because I think the presets that they originally shipped with were probably a bit thin sounding. So, so there's your new 300 presets. How do we get into this? So we can play these presets. So what I'm going to do is a little bit later is I'm actually going to show you guys. We're going to have a listen to those presets. I'm going to show you guys live what they're like, because I think we'll have a little break from the MPC at some stage, and then we'll go off and do the Argon 8. So there's a little segue to that a bit later on. Who here other than me also has an Argon? I don't think any of you guys have, do you? None of you guys Argon?
Is there a similar update for the Cobalt then? Because it's probably a similar operating system, isn't it?
No, it's only the Argon 8 at the moment that
only the Argon. All right.
Yep.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Right. Anyone interested in the Argon? They're actually pretty cheap. They are pretty cheap for a synth. I know. Look, I know the Cobalt probably got a little bit better rap. I think people sort of tended to like the Cobalt much better. But just remember, the Cobalt's a VA. This is actually not a VA synth. This is a wavetable synth. So completely different kettle of fish. So yes, there's a dime and a dozen wavetable synths coming out. But I think this is for money, in terms of how much it costs and what's under the hood. It's pretty good synth. And I've managed to hang on to mine. So, right, what else have we got? There is other news. There's this that came out from the company that we were talking about before. This is a mock-up of the SH5 synthesizer from Roland. This is a Behringer version of it called the MS5, I think they're calling it. Look, aside from all the political rubbish that we hear, thinking back to the SH5, does anyone kind of have an affinity to that synthesizer? Does anyone remember what was unique about that synthesizer? I guess is probably a good question.
No.
Not a lot. No, there are two oscillators, funny routing system, and it sounds. It's like a smaller version of the System 100, not the System 100M, but the System 100. It's sort of like that, but condensed down with internal patching. It's the same sort of period, mid-70s Roland. I mean, it's a nice idea. Why not?
What does it look like?
Obviously, the fetch. It's a very sort of light. It's a light grey panel. It's a lighter grey than that. The original SH5, I think. Am I getting confused? No, I think so.
That's probably.
But it looks a bit like that. You can see. I mean, when you look at that, it just says Roland, doesn't it? Even with the knobs, it says Roland. But well, I think it's a nice
Roland are not
thing.
chasing ghosts, so.
No, they're not.
No, they're not. It's a nice looking thing. My question is, do we need any more of these?
Well, it depends. You might not. Someone else might. I think that the unique,
absolutely.
For me, the unique thing about the SH5 was the filter. You know, the filter was actually quite cool. I liked it. In fact, I've got a System 500 module over here called the 505, which is actually a Roland / Meleco co-joint SH5 filter, and it is quirky and it's unique, and you know, that synth will have it. And like you said, it's probably got a bit of System 100 oscillator sort of hybrid sound in it. So yeah, it's no surprise to me that Behringer would actually make this, because they've probably got like pretty much most of the circuitry to make it from here. Yeah. It wouldn't be difficult for them to make it. That's the first one, and the second one that they announced was this one, which is the Syncussion, and it looks to me like this is definitely going ahead. I actually don't know a lot about the original Syncussion, so slap myself across the face. How dare I not know something about something? Do any of you guys know much about the Syncussion, the original?
No. Is it
never heard of it.
No, apparently, I mean, somebody said on Pro Synth Network that Apex Twin have been using it, so therefore it's hip and cool. But other than that, I really don't know anything about it. So
it's a 2-channel, you know, sort of oscillator thing with, you know, that sort of slider sort of matrix kind of makes it interesting how you sort of develop those two sounds. It is definitely like a percussion instrument, and it's, I think someone said it in the chat, it's like a you know, tom sort of sounding thing, or that sort of percussive sort of sound. So I'm not really sure if that's something that any of us are interested in, but it doesn't really matter. It's not about us. But yeah, that's more a sort of yeah.
I suppose a DFAM's probably the closest to it then. I know it's a completely different beast, but on the sort of just being a sort of more percussion-y, off the wall type of thing.
Interesting thought, that, Darren. I think I'd have to hear what it sounds like. I mean, yeah, Max just said disco toms, you know.
Chat's going crazy right now, so I thought I'd bring that up.
I'm sure it must be more than that. It's got to be more than that. The idea that it's sort of in sort of DFAM territory, that might be an interesting idea. I'd need to hear it, because just looking at the front panel doesn't give me any idea what the thing does.
Yeah, it seems a bit. If it's just a tom sort of thing, it's like, why? But if it's sort of
those sliders, I was just going to say, Darren, they just to sort of get you different sound. You just muck around with that to sort of shape a sound, basically. But like you said, Darren, it's just toms and bongos and that sort of analog synthesis rendition of that stuff. Is that something that any of you guys would get? I don't know if I would, but
no, because from what I remember in the 70s and 80s, that sort of stuff was sounding bad. It was appalling, wasn't it? Really,
rubbish, wasn't it? Yeah.
Yeah. I'm not sure I want to go back there.
And I think Robbie was saying on his show last night that he can't see why they'd clone it, but I think what Behringer do is they kind of test their ideas out on social media to see how much interest things get. You know, but what would actually make that probably a little bit more interesting is not as a desktop module, but maybe as a Eurorack sort of, you know, setup where you'll have sort of CV control and a little bit sort of more modern you know, a bit more thinking behind, not just remaking something the way it was, but try and sort of make it more modern and give us a bit more sort of control over what it can do. That might be heading in the right direction. That would probably be my take on it. But yeah, that's it for news. Hooray! Now, next segment is Price Watch, and it's brought to you once again this week by Andy, who's Synth Addict. Now, he's not in the chat. He was earlier, but he's actually supplied all of this week's, because he supplied them about 2 weeks ago. Let's start with this one. The rarest of the rare, 360 Systems digital keyboard for $10,000 US. I have never ever heard of this thing before. So guys in the chat, you know, start going, oh yes, I know about that. You know, because I haven't heard of this. But is $10,000 a good price for this thing? If it is the rarest of the rare, what is it? It's a sampling sort of synth thing? I've never seen it before. Let's see if we can get some info up on it. The 360 Systems digital keyboard. Yeah. 360, is it in...
Robbie said 10K for 360 is good. It's obviously something. I've no idea what it is.
Apparently there was less than 200 of these made between 1982 and 1984. Now I'm just reading off a website, so whatever I'm reading could be completely wrong, but I doubt it. It looks actually pretty good. It includes 16-piece string orchestra chip. There's like a separate chip in it that does that. It does Mellotron strings and flutes. It has grand piano vibraphone, 2 different guitars, fretless bass. So it's kind of like one of those orchestra replacement type things. The keyboard can be split so you can have 2 sounds. There is a double effect that makes the keyboard as polyphonic. Yeah, it's a digital thing. There's a little ad thing. Maybe I can bring that in. Save. What's it going to let? No, it's not going to let me save it. Oh, websites that stop me from saving pictures. You suck. Anyway, that's that one. Let's go to the next one. Because of that website, I'm now just throwing the towel in. Next one. Boom. EMS sequencer. This is US dollars. So just shy of, it's been discounted. Just shy of $20,000 US. And a decent shipping on that one. Wow. What's inside it? Dead people?
That's ridiculous.
Wow. That one's in the Netherlands. So hello to all my Dutch viewers. I don't have any, I don't think. Anyway. That's that one. The next one is the EMS AKS Synthy, as we all know. The one we love. $21,000. Wow, that's just getting nasty, isn't it? I reckon people would pay that, though. Yeah,
I'm saying that's probably, you know, the going rate for one of them, isn't it?
Yeah.
Especially with a keyboard with it.
Yep. Those little flat touch keyboards. Yeah.
Which is horrible.
I just think there's something about a synth in a briefcase that's just so super cool, isn't it? Just rock up to a gig and you open up your briefcase and you wear your suit, like the suit and tie guy in the US. Just wear your suit, rock up, and then all of a sudden you've got the, it looks like an electronic, old 1940s electronic workshop sort of, you know, test equipment. And all of a sudden you're doing music with it. I mean, that's just a cool thing. This is probably one of the best synth designs of ever, definitely. So yeah, 21 grand if you want that. Next one is the Memory Moog with Lintronic Advanced Memory. Someone in the chat might know about that. Apparently the LAM or the Lintronic Advanced Memory was an upgrade, and I don't really know what it did other than obvious, giving it more memory. Maybe it had more patch storage or something like that. Probably that's what it is. It did have limited patch storage, I think, so storage, not story. Anyway, anyone interested in a Memory Moog for... it's a decent discount on that. It's been dropped by 18 grand. That's a lot of money to drop a price. Would you buy a Memory Moog now that you can buy a Moog 1?
Why would you buy the world's most unreliable synthesizer for $31,000? I mean, it's amazing, but you know, your repair bills are going to be that much in 2 years' time, aren't they? So, cool.
Yeah.
I like the way they've advertised how much they've dropped the price by, because it was 50,000.
Oh, I'm going to rush out and get it now.
So you feel like you're getting a deal. Yeah.
That just smells scam all along, doesn't it? That sort of stuff, doesn't it? But it probably isn't. When you think about it, a Moog 1 is what, a third of that price. So it's not, it is something that you can't get made anymore. It's something that's rare, I guess. So Jari played one. We saw those names before. Jari. John Michael Jari played one. People are going to be throwing their synths at the screen now. He still, like, I think I showed you a couple of weeks ago when he had his little concert thing. He had one on that, which so he still tours with it. Now, like you said, Andy, it's the most unreliable. I don't know if it would be the most unreliable synth. It would probably be up there. I think there'd be worse, but yeah, definitely up there. Anyway, we've hit the end of all the regular segments, everyone. Isn't that good? So we can all go now. Bye. No. Everyone's here to watch the MPC. So how do we want to do it? I've got mine obviously set up. Mine is over here. By the way, hi everyone. That's me waving in the background. Yes. And you can see there's the MPC. I'm going to show a couple of things on it, which is to do with the new firmware. And I'm also going to, Inky's going to show some things on hers. Hopefully, now your camera's not going to be showing what it does, but we're going to be able to get the audio.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
No, hopefully I can switch cameras because they're both working. That's
all right, cool.
Why I was late.
Okay. All right, so talking about the firmware, let's just kind of run through it just in case everyone has forgotten. I'm not going to play the Akai videos. You guys can find those yourself. I actually, my ears were kind of burning with the music that they had on it. It was just horrible. Sorry, who loves that sort of music, but I just didn't like it. Let's just quickly go to the text that I need to read out. So just real basic summary. It's got 4 new plug-in instruments, okay? It has a new Air vocal suite with auto vocal tuner. It has 7 new insert effects, including half speed. The half speed is pretty cool, I have to admit. And the other one, which kind of has thrown a wobbly in the entire synth and music tech community, is they've now added class-compliant audio interface support. And I'm going to show you what that means in a sec. So what we can do is we'll go through some of these things bit by bit. What I might do first is maybe let's have a look at these new plug-in instruments first, because I think it's probably the easiest one to do. So the plug-in instruments we're going to look at, the 4 are the Air Hype, which is a powerful synthesizer instrument. We're going to look at the Air Mellotron, which is a faithful recreation of the legendary tape-based sampling keyboard called the Mellotron. There's the Air Solina, which is a faithful recreation of that analog string machine. And the one that kind of made me like, wow, they've put the Odyssey in there. So they're calling it the Way Out Where Odyssey. And yeah, now the cool thing about the Odyssey is you can play it like an original Odyssey with like a mono analog synth, but you can also play it like a poly synth as well. So this is pretty cool. And actually had a bit of a play with it. It's not bad. It's actually not bad considering it's all digital. So let's go over to MPC World. And we'll just cross live to the screen. Okay, so what you can see there, let's just wake it up. That is the GUI of the plugin, which is the Solina, as you can see. And the cool thing about it is, one of the things I love about this is they've done such a really good job of the GUI. So the GUI has, like, all of these things can be touch controlled, and it's quite intuitive. So as soon as I touch that, you can see the Q thing comes up around it, and that means now that I can actually control that with these Q. I just touch it and it tells you what each one of these does just by touching it. Disappears, touch it, tells you again. That's actually quite intuitive. Even if I touch that there, now that's going to control those. It's just so well programmed for the guys. And across the bottom, you've got tabs. So you've got the ensemble, the sound, a whole bunch of features in there. You've got flavor. You've got some effects, chorus, and delay and reverb. So that's just the String Machine. So let's have a little bit of a listen. Now to get to it, just so if you've never ever used an MPC and you think, I can't find that GUI, how do you get the GUI? What you do is once you've loaded that instrument as a plugin, so the little plugin symbol there. In fact, what I'll do, because we're going to be doing a bit more screen stuff, I'll zoom in on the screen for you. There you go. So you've got the plugin symbol there, right? And then you can select from the plugin what you want. So let's just quickly show you. There's the Solina, the Mellotron, the Hype, and I think below is the Odyssey. Where's the Odyssey gone? There, underway, outway is the Odyssey. All right, so we're on Solina, okay? And then you can select all the patches that are presets, they call them. You can do that by just clicking on there, and there's a whole bunch of presets in here. But to get to the GUI, you just hold down, I'll go back to the other view because we're going to be showing buttons. You hold down menu and just press that top second from the left pad, and it goes straight to the GUI of the plugin, which I think is very easy. But you can actually see it's there. If you hold it down, it's just program edit. It's the same thing. So basically, if you're looking at these sort of keyboard shortcuts when you're playing with MPCs, that layout there of that grid represents the same layout of the pad. So it's just becomes muscle memory after a while. You'll get used to that. It's a cool thing. Anyway, let's have a listen. So we got some chords. Not bad sounding for an MPC. Let's choose a different patch. We can access the patches from up the top here. Try rich strings. So obviously you can play with pads, and one of the things you can do with pads is you can do pad perform, and you can do things like choosing harmonic minors and all that sort of stuff. That's all built into MPC in previous firmware, so that's cool. But you can also use a USB or a MIDI-based keyboard. In case I've got a key step next to it. One of the things I noticed about this was it goes really low. So let's go down. That's the oscillator. That's almost like it is not almost.
Well, that's flabby.
LFO. That is an LFO. And then we can go really
very
high.
Flabby.
There's some digital artifacts happening there.
There's some idiocy. Yep. Oh, gosh. They're quite nice, actually. Do that again.
You can muck around with the digital aliasing right up high. Anyway.
Yeah, that's actually quite good. We like that.
And I can touch pads at the same time. I do believe that there is a voice
Jean-Michel Jarre again.
There is a bit of a voice limit in this. Anyway, so that is the, we're just going to do a real quick overview of the plugins, right? So that's the Solina. Let's go next to have a look at the Mellotron. The Mellotron's fun. I like this Mellotron. Okay, and we're going to go back to the GUI. There we go. Let's zoom in on the GUI because I think the GUI's done well, really well. You've got, like before, you've got your 3 tabs across the bottom. You've got model, flavor, and EQ, and you've got the effects, the delay, and the spring. And we can muck around with each of these by tapping on it, and you can obviously use the Q links to muck around with it. Okay, so let's get a default patch. Let's go to,
we want quiet.
Let's do flute first. let's muck around with release. Which one's release?
It's so crappy. It's wonderful, isn't it? That's what's good about it. It just sounds bad.
This has got that Beatles sort of. I'll just muck around with that release a little bit there. Let's try a different patch. I'm just going to be really quick.
So far, you've resisted playing the obvious. Well done.
The 8-voice choir. Oh, no.
I meant
you mean the Strawberry Fields. Yeah. No, I don't want to get a copyright strike. Now, this is where... Okay, so let's have a listen to it first. And we can adjust that release again.
Robbie's asked an interesting question. Does it cut out after 8 seconds? Or does it loop ad infinitum?
It loops infinitum. I just went 8 seconds.
Hey, I wonder. Perhaps there's a setting which stops it.
It might. There is this here, which is the sample start. So you can muck around with that. You can muck around at what percent it's starting into the sample. So
yeah.
I don't really know how that affects some of these samples anyway. And an easy way to get to some of the different settings are here as well.
Who says Robbie?
What else can we do? Oh, that's what I was going to show you. Okay, so if we go back to the MPC view, one of the cool things about it being an MPC is that you can get the modern take on this sort of stuff. So, for example, you can do note repeat or shift note repeat. There you go. So all of a sudden now you've got the MPC manipulating a Mellotron. So you've got the best of both worlds if you're into the Mellotron sounds. I think that's cool. What else we got? 8-voice choir. We've also got violins. Let's do the violins. I can't even remember what half of these sounded like, to be honest.
Oh,
Let's turn that off. It's pretty lame.
It's just joyous. It's wonderful. Get a lot of chorus and reverb and delay on that, and it's wonderful.
Well, we've got delay. So let's do the delay. Let's bring the delay up, which is that one.
Yeah, and Native, yes, bit of phaser, so that Brooksy gets his Rubicon vibes on. Yeah, thanks, Native. You're dead right.
Okay. It's almost like that club sound, isn't it? Let's get some mix happening on the... Where's that? Mix. There it is. Anyway, Mellotron to your heart's content. Flavor, what does this do? Let's play around with this. Interesting. Compressor. EQ, blah, 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 blah. That is the really, really quick overview of the Mellotron. And what else we got? I might just do a real quick hype, Lisa, but I want Lisa to do the cool hype. I just want to quickly show the hype. And we just go menu. So the hype synth itself is actually really quite deep. It's quite a deep synth. It's got a lot of stuff that you can muck around with, the different types of oscillators, you know, that sort of stuff. Anyway, just have a little listen to this patch.
Oh, I like that. Oh, that's Jean-Michel Jarre, isn't it?
That's just a real quick overview of the Hype. But
Wow,
just have a
that was
look
lovely.
looking at the tabs. You've got the filter amp section, which we looked briefly at before. You've got effects. There's LFO mods, distortion. There's another effects tab here with delay, reverb, compressor, and pumper. And then there's a bit of setup stuff that you can muck around with in there as well. It's pretty deep. There's these kind of sort of intuitive things down the side you notice here, which I think is really cool. I really liked how they've done this. It's actually, excellent work, considering it's free. That's what we've got to remember here. I mean, obviously, if you don't own an MPC, it's not free. But considering it's free.
Can you show them the init patches? Because that's what shows what it's really about. So if you go right to the bottom.
Default.
No. If you can go from, I think it's FM and sample, sample and analog, FM and analog, wavetable. That's it.
Yep.
That's really what the synth is about.
There you go. So there's an analog init. There's a sample init. In fact, let me go back to there so you get a closer view. See how it's changing all the stuff here. Wavetable, FM. So these are your op. Back to here. Analog sampler. Interesting. Analog and analog. Wavetable and analog. So there's quite a lot of cool stuff in there. What one do you want me to sort of muck around with, Lisa, just briefly?
Anyone you want. Anyone, yeah.
So let's just have a little listen to this oscillator as I muck around with it. Alright, let's muck around with the envelope. This is the number of oscillators. The G tuning. Let's get that. And then we've got cutoff. Let's try some resonance. Wow, some nice harmonics in there. I'm not hearing any aliasing. Have you heard any aliasing yet, Lisa? I know we've only had this for a little while, but I'm not hearing.
No, not at all.
The only aliasing I heard was when I mucked around with that string machine when I was going right up into the top sort of octaves. That was kind of there. And the last one is the. I just want to get through these real quick. The last one is the way out. Come on, Odyssey. Okay, and Classic bass. Now, this is the cool thing about it. Like that just looks like an MPC. There's nothing really special. But the moment that you go into the GUI, now she's looking like an Odyssey. I love that. That is so cool. And then you can play with all of the Odyssey stuff. So you've got the VCOs, the mods and the envelopes, the mixes and the filters, the echo, and a bit of settings at the back. So all right, let's give it a bit of release. Let's go down an octave. Go down another octave. There's obviously echo and effects and stuff in here. We can turn that off, but it's based on the patch. But yeah, it's actually quite well done. These are just all basses. It's all categorized, basses, pads, blah, 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 blah. Let's just pick some effects, just randomly. And some pads, because people love pads. Wow, look at that, a polyphonic Odyssey. Anyway, that is a real quick and dirty overview of the plugins, and it probably took longer than I thought, actually. So, quick look at the chatties. If there was, it's hard for me to look at what chat's happening. So, if you do have a question, maybe I'll appoint Darren as the chat monitoring person, because Darren, you don't actually have an MPC, so it just might make it easier for us.
So bugger off, Darren.
Okay, I'm an MPC, not a person, so go on.
Yeah. Well, you don't own one, so, you know, we're just trying to make you jealous. Anyway, so people are sort of comparing it to other things. They're sort of thinking out aloud about whether I want one, whether I don't, blah, blah, blah. I mean, obviously, you wouldn't base it on my demonstration of just those 4 new plugins. But that's just really just to give you guys a listen to what they sound like and what they look like and how they operate if you had an MPC. Now, one thing to remember, I've got the MPC Live version 1, and the firmware actually works on version 1. So if you're wondering if it works on the older version of MPC Live, yes, it does. There's actually nothing majorly different in terms of the CPU and memory architecture of the MPC Live 1 and the MPC Live 2, by the way. It's just so we splitting hairs. If you've got questions about those plugins, do send them our way. What I thought we'd do next is, Lisa, do you want to while we're talking about these plugins, are you ready to show the hype stuff that you were talking about? You ready to rock and roll?
Yeah, all I've done is I've put the default hype patch on.
Yep.
And then I have put lots of effects that you shouldn't put on a synth.
Yep.
Just to see what would happen.
Great.
So here's what it sounds like normally. So if you go back to effects and turn them on one by one. So that's the vocal. Is it focusing? Can you see it? No. Oh dear.
It's not
The
focusing,
camera
but you
I
can
had
just
set up didn't work.
You can just tell us what it says.
No, don't worry. Just keep going with them, Lisa. Just keep switching them on. It's
now,
coming through. The sound's good.
This one's lovely. This is the granular effect. The new granular effect we've been given.
Yep.
Now this is lovely.
Sorry. That's okay. You lost your page. There it is. Oh, it's focusing now. Good.
Toolbox.
Yeah. Now if I go
That's
to
wicked.
that, and if I play, you should see it moving. So can you see the anything on the MPC?
Wow. That's actually a nice one.
Back. And then just to make it more complicated, I put the air pumper on it.
That's wicked.
That's all from this. That's all from the sound.
And the great thing about that, Lisa, is that even though the MPC is generating that, you can actually record that into the MPC as a sample, and then you can muck around with the sample as well.
Yeah. Well, and have 4 layers of that. Two of them going backwards or whatever you want to do.
Yeah.
All within, no wires, does it all itself within seconds. Then I messed around with the vocal effects. Do you want to?
Yeah. Do you want to show the
singing?
Yeah. So let me just quickly introduce the vocal suite first. It's so basically it's you can sort of record and mix vocals in this now. They've got like insert effects that delivers kind of you've got the pitch ones, you've got the auto tuning ones, and what was the other? There was another one. But anyway, you can show what you've got. It's a good example, I guess, of how it works. Is she still there?
So I was reading the chat. So let's turn this on. So now my voice should be double. So, I mean, there's 2 of me.
Yeah.
And now we've got some harmonies.
Wow.
And last we've got the tuner, which I should have put on the first, I think.
Yeah.
But
no, it's trying to tune everyone.
Yeah. So, twinkle little star. No, I hate the tuner. Yeah, that's better.
Keep singing.
Twinkle, twinkle little star, now I can be a
superstar.
No, you can pretend you're
J-Lo.
Sin Riser's doing duo Superman.
I can't do that. I don't know. I want to sing something like Queen, but I'm not that good. But you can tell. You know, I was singing when you lot weren't around, and I was having quite a lot of fun. But sitting here doing it now seems different. So.
You think that we think you're lame, but no, we don't, because none of us.
We're getting 20 inkies all at once.
None of us have the balls to do it, Lisa. That's what it is. That's good. It's definitely a good demo. I mean, I can bring in a sample into mine a bit later, and we can check out what it does to samples with those effects too. Because they're insert effects, you can do it on. You actually can use those vocal effects on actual synths as well. It doesn't have to be just on vocals, so you can do some interesting things with them. Should we, Lisa? Should give you a little rest? Should we go and check out? I think the next thing to look at now is the. I reckon the audio interface support is a good one to check out. So let's head on over to mine. I kind of want to talk to you guys about this a little bit because this is bigger than Ben-Hur, in my opinion. I think the people that have the MPC One have probably the best deal when it comes to this, because the MPC One is probably the most cut back MPCs out of the new range. But by adding this new USB class compliant audio interface support, it actually makes the MPC One much more attractive for people who want to get themselves into MPCs. So what it does is it gives you class compliant support for audio interfaces. Those audio interfaces, they must be, sorry Darren, they can't be things like an MX1 because Roland don't have class compliant on that particular thing. It would be nice if they had a class compliant feature on it in the future firmware update, if you're listening, Roland. Anyway, so what you do is you just connect up via USB on the back. There's, depending on what type of MPC you've got, you usually have a couple of, if not one, MPC spots on the back. Now, if you've only got one like you do on the MPC one, you can just plug a USB hub into it, and that will expand out your amount of MPC ports via USB that you can input, and then you can put an interface into that. It does work. Lots of people around the world have tried it and it works fine. They've got keyboards plugged into it. They've even got synths and things like that, as well as an audio interface, and it's all working fine. Connects your up, and you can get up to 32 inputs and outputs, and then you can route your audio to your favorite outboard gear. I'm going to show that in a sec. There are some people who are reporting some things that are a bit glitchy with this, but what I thought I'd show you guys first is I've actually got, I mean, if you're thinking about the most wackiest sort of audio interfaces that you can get out there in the universe, how about this? I've got an Expert Sleeper's ES8. Now that's a Eurorack audio interface. It's class compliant USB. There's the USB connection. That is now going into the hub, which is sort of underneath all this mess of cables, which is then connected into the MPC. Now, if I go into my settings and I go into audio device, in fact, I might just bring the close-up of this, because this is actually really, really cool. When you get your audio interface connected and you click on the audio device, it will show up in the list. How cool is that? So I select Expert Sleepers, and now I can access the audio that's coming in 32. And out. You can have it up to 32, yeah. Not particularly with this one, but you can, yeah. So if I go back to my...
Is that the Expert Sleep? Sorry, Ranzee, is that 32?
No, that's just the
That's
Akai.
from your...
No, that's just what Akai will enable you to have up to. So
I see. So that's an Akai thing, not the Expert Sleepers, right? Okay.
Yeah.
Sorry for my question. I was a bit puzzled.
No, that's all right. My Expert Sleepers is currently configured with the ES5 expansion module. So I've got 8 plus 6 because they used the 7 and 8 on the last to give you an extra 8. So I have 4 inputs, and I can configure it vice versa. But anyway, let's not get into it. Okay, so what we do is we go into audio and audio config, and it opens up this little thing here. And if I click start on this, I should be able to start seeing audio coming in a second. So we want to come audio coming in on 1, I think it is. And we want to monitor that. So we arm it. And you guys hear that now?
Yeah. Just about.
Yeah, it's very quiet. I'm just gonna make this louder for you. Now this is audio coming in from my Eurorack, going straight into my MPC. So I've got just a system 500 sequence coming from the Metropolis, going straight in, right? So you can see, right? So it's nothing exciting, and it's not about that. But what I do want to show you is, can you guys see here how these are now lighting up on my Expert Sleepers? That is the MPC now telling Expert Sleepers that I've got audio going in and out. And in fact, I can actually control what channels the output comes. So if I want to make that come out on output 2, you watch, it will stop playing. But if I go to, actually, let's make it go out on 3 because it'll really show it. Now, if I go to this view here, you can see output 3 is lighting up. See there? Where my finger is. All right? And before it was coming out through 1. So if I change it back on my MPC through 1, I'd now have sound again. The reason for that is because I've got something connected into 1, right? So what does that mean? Let's just take a pause for a sec and just talk about what that actually friggin' means. Because this is huge. This is bigger than, this is like a massive explosion in your head. What that means is now you can route MIDI, you can route audio in your MPC, in and out, both of things. Because MIDI's been, in the previous firmware update, a few firmware updates ago, they sorted all the MIDI stuff out, except for one thing, and we won't get into that, transpose. But the other thing is audio is now routable in your MPC, provided that you've got a class-compliant audio interface. Questions about whether it's DC coupled, whether you can actually record CV and all that sort of stuff, I think so, but I haven't tried it. So that would be something that I'm going to be trying over the next couple of weeks. But I don't know, Lisa, did you realise it can do that sort of stuff? Just with the basic interface? Yeah.
Yeah, and they've added 2 more audio channels as well.
Yes.
So now you can have 10. So you don't get 32 back into the machine, but you do get 10. So that's pretty cool.
So the benefit, I guess, there is that when you've got audio going out and then coming back in, you can actually send like all of those new plugin synths, for example, the Solina or something. I could send that out to a external effects. I can put it into my Euratch and glitch it up. I can even set it into the Behringer 2600 and muck around with the. So now I've got audio coming out, and because I'm using the Expert Sleepers module in my case, it's just convenient. It's right in that sort of Eurorack format, so I can send it anywhere. But don't forget, if you haven't got Eurorack, in your case, if you've got a Focusrite Scarlett or something like that, their USB class compliant audio interface, it will all work beautifully with that. I think the Behringer UMCs work nicely. I've heard guys who have got the Behringer UMC, the 8 port one, which has the ADAT connection on the back, and they've got the 88, 8200 expansion racks, and they've had all of those channels working as well. So this is pretty cool. This is pretty cool. And what it means is that you can separately record all the individual tracks on your MPC. You can take individual things coming in, individual things going out. You can just let that spaghetti go crazy in your brain right now, what you think that you could possibly do with this, right? This is just because they've added USB class compliant audio. It's a simple thing, but now, what is that letting us do? What is that letting us? Let's see what the chatties have got to say, because I'm just interested to see what chatties can feel about this. It's becoming a DAW really now, isn't it? I mean, I think it's really kind of hit that DAW sort of level of ability now, but that's okay. It's still got the MPC, under the hood, so that's cool. Yeah. Who in the chat has got an MPC, hasn't updated yet, but now is starting to think, wow, this update is really, really cool? Be interested. Pat Brady is asking me, does it aggregate the input-output using MPC IO and the class-compliant audio inf? I don't know if I understand that. Does it aggregate? Oh, okay. Does it aggregate the actual MPC audio as well as the external class compliant? No, you cannot. You have to choose. So the stuff that's connected physically at the back is, once you've changed it from the internal audio interface, as I showed you guys before, to the external audio interface, it'll literally disconnect all of those audio connections that you've got, whether it's in or out. So you'll be using the in and out connections only on the one that you've got selected. So in my case, I've got the output in the main out on my MPC. It disconnected that once I went across to the Expert Sleepers connection. So Yes. I think that answers your question. Yeah, so Robert said he's updated his yesterday and he's saying it's jaw dropping. Question from Atto Z. Where do you change the latency settings? I don't think I've got to that yet, mate. I don't know if you can. That may be more to do with when you're sampling. That might be in that part. It's just a guess. Have you recorded anything yet, Lisa, from the external audio interface? I haven't actually got to that stage yet.
I'm just trying to find latency on here, but I can't find it.
Maybe someone else might know. Howard's about to leave the show just to update his MPCX. Good on you, Howard. Don't leave just yet because we've got some more stuff to show you. X101 saying he's got an MPC 1000 and he's tempted to replace it with. I was in the same boat as you. In 2017, I had an MPC 1000 and I went across to the MPC Live back in the early days. And Lisa will back me up here. In the early days of Akai MPC, the firmware was a bit naff. It didn't have anywhere near the cool stuff that it's got now.
The effects were rubbish. There was no ARP. There was no sequencer synths. So we didn't have an ARP. We didn't have any synths.
MIDI implementation was crap.
And let's be honest, they were unusable.
Yep.
So all I wanted was an ARP and like a decent reverb and delay. So I mean, I see people moaning on the forums, and I don't think they know where this has come from and how much we've actually had for free. You know, it hasn't got no much before it had an ARP or any synths or any decent effects or.
Yeah.
And now it's just the centre of the studio. Or you just need this box, really, don't you? You could just get away with making music on this box now with an interface and say a mic and a guitar, something like that. You could probably do an album.
Yeah. Mike's asking where I can download stuff. It's if you just go to akaipro.com and it's literally just linked from the front page. You'll see the big banner that says MPC Firmware 2.10. Which is just this website address, akaipro.com.
Yeah.
I spelled it right.
You're sticking it in, are you, Ranz?
Yeah, just literally click on the banner which comes up, and then from there you'll be able to sort of dive into all the different layers that it's talking about. Okay, so what else haven't we talked about yet? We haven't talked about the drum and key group engine updates. I haven't really had a chance to play with that yet. We could show a video on that, but I think you guys can go watch that yourselves. If you're wondering what that means, yeah, you go.
Yeah, I was just going to quickly mention about the drums. So now on drum samples, you used to have four effects on the whole sample. So that's each sample can have 4 layers, and you could have 4 effects on those. Now you can have
12.
8 separate effects on each layer, and then the following 4 on the 4 layers of one sample. So that is a lot of messing around. And also we've got like probability, haven't we? So you can randomize pitch. You can randomize whether it sounds. You can randomize the filter and cutoff of them all and stuff like that. So that's quite good, isn't it?
The sample tail as well, which adds the natural decay, which fixes those abrupt sort of chops and clips when you're going from sample to sample. It has key group programs, portamento. You can also do things like 808 kick glides, which is something I haven't tried yet, but that sounds really, really cool. I have heard a demo of that and it sounds really cool. Those 12 plugins also include ring mode, bit crush, bass enhancer, and there's also that real-time processing is the other thing. So the spontaneous manipulation of samples is now real-time processing. That's something that we've probably been missing if you really think about it, because when you're sort of mucking around with samples, sometimes the sort of process that you go through to do that sort of stuff is a little bit sort of, you've got to go into the sample edit, muck around, you might have to do a non-destructive or a destructive manipulation of that sample or layers or things like that. With some of these new features, it's the way the key group and that works. It's literally instantaneous. You're just doing it there on the fly, which is actually kind of cool. It's a nice sort of layering side thing that they've got in the workflow enhancements, which I liked. And speaking of workflow enhancements, there are some actual workflow enhancements as well. The search. Have you tried the new search? That's actually really cool. So it does this thing called recursive search. So it's something that I have been pulling my hair out for a while. I don't have much hair, but with the way the browse feature works on the MPC, if you've got like stacks of samples, like folders, subfolders, everywhere. A lot of us have got the SATA drives to upgrade our MPCs, and we end up with quite a lot of stuff in there. To find stuff, you're having to go down folders, down fold, down fold. You're having to do that sort of stuff, and you have to go up parent, up parent, up parent. It's a pain. Now that they've got this recursive search, it is so cool. If you want to find something, say for example, you wanted to look for 808 kicks, and you might have a whole bunch of 808 kicks scattered across a whole bunch of different sample providers that you've collected yourself, it'll find them all now, instead of you having to just browse manually, which is a pain. It just makes things so much quicker.
The folder you're looking at, yeah.
There's key detection, which automatically detects the key of the imported sample, which is a really cool
interesting
feature.
Can I ask a question about that? You might know better, because that was something I thought, ooh. When you say you've taken a sample of a loop and it detects that it's in, let's say, E flat, and you're going, hang on, but the track I'm working on, that's in D. Can you is there a way of instantly just transposing it down so that it with its time stretch, can you go just move over a button and go,
yeah,
right, I don't want it on that. I want to key it to, it's on E flat, but I want it on D, so I want it down one semitone.
Yeah.
Just down it one semitone.
It's that so easy. You make sure you warp it, because you don't want it to shorten, and then you just move a dial.
No, X101, I haven't. Stop nagging me.
Yeah, that's been in there for a while, that feature too.
Right, okay. I didn't know. So that is possible. Right. No, I haven't really learned it. I really haven't. I'm sorry.
Sasquatch is asking if we can do a sample. He wants to. So could you record a sample and then demonstrate to Andrew how easy it is to shift a key of a sample? Because this is where it's just wins, really, isn't it?
Yeah. Or just grab a sample. You don't have to record one. You can grab one and show it.
Well, Sasquatch is asking, can you record? Can someone?
Yeah, we can record something. Yeah. I'll do that in a sec. One other thing I wanted to talk about quickly was I've lost my train of thought. Instrument presets we were talking about before. Okay, so that was the other thing. When you want to install this, a lot of people, Akai were not very good at explaining how you actually to install the plugins. The firmware was easy. We all know how to do the firmware updates by now, but the actual plugins was a bit weird. Now, if you've got an MPC 1, unfortunately, you can't put an SD drive inside your MPC. That's the only thing that you'll probably be missing now. So you have to actually download the plugin pack. It's a zip file, and then you extract the synthesizer and all the subdirectories. I think it's called synths and all the subdirectories, and you put that on the root folder of your SD card. Chuck it in, boot up your MPC one.
Again, it will find it. Yeah, I saw Matthew Stratton doing. He mentioned this on a video, and I have to be honest. Yeah, Inky, you're nodding. I didn't really understand what he meant. I was like, "What?" So if it doesn't do it on the MPC one, what I've got to do a what?
No, you don't. Right, no, right. All you have to do: download the folder, plug the blue wire in from your MPC to the computer, Open the folder, and in that folder called Synths. So you're downloading the Synths folder, but inside that folder again is another folder called Synths. So you've got your MPC connected via your blue wire, a USB, and you just drag and drop that onto your SD card. Okay. The MPC will show up in your computer just like a hard drive. The SD card will show up like an external hard drive.
If you've got it in controller mode, you have to put it in controller mode.
Yes.
Hang on a minute. See, this is where I'm getting the SD. Do I need to put it onto a physical SD card and stick it in that slot there?
Yes.
Have you not got an SD card?
So I'm going to need to put it on. Not at the moment. Oh, no, I'm going to buy an SD card. I mean, that's not a problem. But
get yourself a decent size SD card.
So I have to take that SD card out of there, plug it into the SD card.
No, you don't have to take it out.
I've just told you. You plug the wire in, the blue wire that comes with the MPC. You plug the back into it, and then connect it to the computer.
Right.
Oh.
Yeah, then you chuck your MPC into...
Lisa's getting annoyed at me being thick.
Then you chuck your MPC into controller mode.
My computer
the wire it comes with, this wire.
I understand the MPC cable, but the USB cable. It's the computer will see this SD card, and they have to drag it across onto that.
Yeah.
Oh, all right. Okay. So I'm sorry. It was. I know there was some sort of
but
cognitive computery leaps that my brain doesn't function on.
Andy, make sure that you put your MPC. Card. Make sure you put your MPC into controller mode. That's the only caveat. Otherwise, it won't show. Now, to do that, I'll just quickly show you. So to do that, you go to there, and you click on this. See this little MPC logo here?
Right.
If you click on that.
Yes, that's what you click for updating, yeah.
It will ask you if you want to change it to controller mode. See that? Once I say...
Do you want to save changes to untitled?
So I'm going to cancel. But once you've done that, it will put your MPC into controller mode, which means then all the hard drives that you've got inside your MPC, in my case, I've got an internal SSD, and I've also got the SATA drive inside it. They show up as actual drives in my PC, and then I can just put that, like he was saying, I can just put that synths folder across, and then bang.
So I need
the next time you turn, you go back into standalone mode by the same way, and then you will see. You will see the plugin instruments show up here.
It will automatically see those plugins on the SD card. Okay, right.
Now they don't explain. That's what I'm saying. They don't explain that very well.
I appreciate it.
That's not explained very well. That's the only thing that we're saying.
I have to say, Matthew Stratton didn't explain it very well either. He left me just really puzzled, thinking I'm not going to do this because I don't understand what he's talking about. Right, thank you, the pair of you, for explaining. I do understand now.
There's a few good videos.
Sorry for getting you frustrated there, Lisa. That's
all right. There's a few good videos on YouTube. If you search for how to put MPC the plugins on 2.4, it'll come up. There was a guy that I looked at. I might link him in actually. Let me see if I can find him for you. Just give me a sec. I need to go. Just give me 1 sec. I'm going to find him. We'll do a sample as well for who was it? Sasquatch or someone? We'll do that.
This is why they should always put out a video to do firmware or any sort of updates from an actual basic. I haven't got a clue what this thing is. Right to the end process.
A lot of them are assuming
people who know how to do it
all the time.
Yeah. People who not do it can jump to halfway through it, where people haven't got a clue can start at the beginning.
Okay. I've got to be honest, it took me 2 hours to figure it out. And I mean, I'm pretty hot on this stuff, and it still took me 2 hours. And then walked straight in the kitchen and saw Matthew Stratton's video, and I thought, save 2 hours.
Yeah,
but you understood it. You understood what he meant there.
Just hang on a sec. Sorry. So in the chat, I've just linked you guys into a video. The guy's name's Marcus. His channel's called Elbow Media Studios. He's in the US. He explains, in my opinion, the 2.10 updates. He explains them really, really well, and he shows you how to do things like updating your firmware, putting the plugins on, and he shows that very, very well as well. So that one's probably much better. I'm not saying anything bad about Matthew, but that one's probably much better in the sense that I just felt that it was simple to understand.
Right.
Something that probably Akai should have done, to be honest, if you really want to.
Yeah, I'm surprised. They put the README file in the synth file. If they just put the text to the synth file and you go, oh, read it.
Yeah.
And then you would have understood it. It was finding the README file that took, you know.
I didn't know there was a README file. And the only reason why I found the README file was because I went onto a forum and someone said there's a README file. Read the README file.
It took me 2 hours to find, you know. I mean, it was obvious when you found it and you're like, oh, I've just spent 2 hours doing. But I mean,
we're moaning.
It could have been so easily avoided, couldn't it? It could have been so easily avoided by this is how you update and then include that folder in that information somehow. So,
yes. All right, let's go across to the MPC back again. And so you guys want me to do just to sample something, hey? First, what I'll do first is, well, maybe I could just sample this thing.
See, something like exactly, yeah.
All right, so we've just got a real simple 2-bar loop. You can see it up here. It's a 2-bar loop. What we're going to do is we are going to arm the MPC by clicking on record. Right? Notice nothing's recording just yet because I've got this set up to take external, MIDI control, and my Pamelas will fire off the record. Let me double check to make sure everything is good there. So it's armed there. I think we're all good to go, aren't we, Inky? I think that all looks pretty good. Here we go.
Yep.
I think we should probably look at this view though. Here we go. And we probably want to get that back to the start. There we go. There we go. Right. Go. I don't think that recorded anything. What did I do wrong? There we go. Okay, try again. Did that record anything?
This is interesting because I would have gone the sampler way. I would have gone a sampler.
I could do that.
Stick it on a pad.
Yeah,
that's how I always sample.
Oh, did it do it? I think it did it. It was just way too short. There you go. Let's just do it again.
Or the loop, sampler or looper, and just stick it on a pad.
Yeah. So we want to take the input from input 1. Yes, it's going to be mono. We want to arm it, and we just go record. Bang. Okay, that'll do. And yeah, that'll do. Put it in there, sign it to that pad, and then keep.
Save. Save.
I think that's done.
You have to press save, I think. I don't know.
That?
Where's the save?
I said keep.
No, save it on the left-hand side.
Oh yeah, there. I forgot to do that.
You need to watch a video on it.
There we go. let's put it on there. Let's chuck it in my sample library. That'll do.
Oh, no. You did it right the first time, I think. To be in the program to trigger it. Keep.
Now it should be in MIDI. And then we want it to be not a plugin. We want it to... There it is. Right, so there's the sample. Now, what we wanted to show was the pitching and all that sort of stuff. Right, so you go into sample edit. And right, so
then
what do you want me to do?
That little arrow, tap that little arrow on your right hand side.
That?
You see that? That's it.
Let's go to a zoom in. There you go. There's the key. There's the root note. There's the speed, everything like that. And what do you want to do? Change it to...
So it's record...
If you go out... Hold on. If you go out of that...
Yeah.
And you go to... warp sample. If you go to the main page again.
Yep.
Right. Your box with your inserts on. So you press your eye thing at the top right. So you can, top right, behind, get rid of that. Go to warp sample. Warp sample, bottom row.
Trying to find it. Yep. There.
No, that one. Right, warp the sample.
Yep.
Press warp. And now we can change the semi-tuning. So we can change the semi-tuning.
There.
So, yeah.
So you can go down one.
Which you can automate. You can automate this as well. Yeah. You can record this and automate it. So it'll just totally mess with
There you go. All right. So
and you could put that on 16 levels, couldn't you, Rans? You could now make that. Go on, do it. Make it into an instrument just to wow Andrew.
But it's not very good. It's not a very. I have to I think I'd have to slice that up to do that, and it's got a stupid effect on it as well. I probably won't do that. I think what would be better is if we sample something and then put it all back in that way. But I mean, that's just to really show. I'm getting error messages on YouTube, by the way. It says, let us know in the chat if we're not working. Looks like we are.
Yeah, you're all working.
All right to me.
It's giving me error messages. Always the way when I've got my back turned, something goes wrong. Anyway, so yeah. In terms of, I don't really do that sort of stuff on my MPC that much. This is why I'm kind of not really that well known to that sort of stuff. But in terms of like sampling and mucking around, what I usually use my MPC for is to I actually put samples in it as a load. I load them in from other things that I've recorded. I use my my Akai Force more for that sort of stuff because it's like a clip sampler. It creates little clips. So, but yeah, I mean, look, that's the way to do it. What did we forget? We've missed out on a whole heap of stuff, I'm sure of it. Oh, the air effects. Okay, cool. The stutter, the granular. You did the granular. Yeah, maybe we could muck around with that a little bit. Okay. So let's go back to here. Let's get rid of that sample for now. Go back to a plugin. So we've got the... Right, we've got that. And we want to give it some effects. So... let's do it on there. I'm going to insert. Let's add some insert effects in here. Okay, so where's the new ones? Let's do half speed. That's a new one. So when you get the new effects in, they do list what they are. Let me just get the screen up bigger for you. You can click on the little pencil, and it gives you a GUI of all the effects. So that's now made at half speed. How cool is that? See, I'm changing the mode, and I'm playing a chord on my key step, and it's resampling that. So that's what half speed does. Half speed's really cool for other things as well. And you've got all these kind of mucking arounds that you can do with that. What else is there? Oh, there's a lot, isn't there? Wow.
That's the question about this half speed thing.
Yeah.
Right. Because it's something I don't really understand.
Yep.
Surely you just play it an octave lower.
So it's a non-destructive effect, right? That you would use to add to something that you want to like slow down. It's an effect.
And Andrew, what you're thinking about is samples that are slowing down because they're lower in tone. Based on the MPC, it can be, but you warp everything. Every sample is the same time. It doesn't matter if it's played lower or it's not slower. It's the same amount of time, like you do in a DAW.
So when you warp the sample, it plays the sample at the same length regardless of what pitch you're playing it. Is that right? Okay.
Yes.
So that when you want,
if you don't warp
when you want it,
it's like
like an old-fashioned sampler that you change the pitch by changing the playback speed. So an octave lower is half the speed, and an octave higher is twice the speed, which is the way my brain works, I'm afraid. So that's what the warping does, right? I'm with you. So this effect
works on synths as well. Well, it's quite popular in like some types of music at the moment, and don't forget you can use it on anything like the synths.
So it gives the effect of playing something back at half speed, but keeps its timing.
Yes,
is that what it
and
does?
you can mix it.
Right.
Yes, apparently it's in some types of music in America at the moment. They love it.
You can resample that too. Instead of warping that, it will change the timing and everything like old-fashioned samplers do. You can do that on here, which is just it's basically just doing it without warping it. Is what Lisa's saying. I think we're getting kind of sidetracked though, to be honest. We should
try the granular. Try the granular.
Let's do the granular. Let's do the granular. We'll go back to that. Where were we? Go back to our channel mixer, inserts there. Let's change that to the granular. Where is it? It's not alphabetical. What's it called?
It's right at the bottom. I don't think is it an air effect? So I don't think it's an air effect, is it?
Oh, it may.
Carry on.
Is it an Akai one?
Yeah, I think so.
Oh, there it is. Yeah, Granulator. Okay, cool. All right, and let's have a look at the GUI. Le GUI. Ooh, that was pretty cool. So what does it do?
Turn the density up.
Yep.
Turn the density up. You got it on?
Yeah, I do.
Wow.
Done.
Wow. Oh, there it is. Oh, don't mess with that. That's a bit.
It's crazy, isn't it? Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, you can freeze it too. I like that. What is that I've got? Oh, okay, let's just go back. If I turn that off, let's just change our little synth sound to something a bit kind of more basic. Like a bass, I don't know, no, not a bass, like a string. Has it got a brass? That'll do. All right, now we'll go back to turn it on. Yeah, there you can really hear it now.
In the chat, they're suggesting change the preset.
Yeah, you can.
So you're on preset blur. Okay. See what else you've got.
Let's do a stutter. Oh, that was the other one too that we should check out, Lisa. Is the new stutter effect.
Like that.
Oh, the tail on that was cool.
Like that. That was cool.
All right, and while we're at it, let's just check out the new. Is the stutter? I don't think that's in here. I think that's.
No, that's an air one.
It's an air one, isn't it? Yeah. Okay. There it is. Oh, this is going to be interesting. Let's try some.
I'll put.
Oh, you can have so much fun with this. I mean, seriously, it's crazy. So there's some of the effects. There are some of the effects. Vocal Suite Inky did before. I was pretty impressed with the Vocal Suite. I'll be honest. Like, in terms of like, if you were to go out and buy like, the TC, is it TC Helicon, the voice, those sort of
Yeah.
hardware
I've got
things?
the blue one.
They're bloody expensive, and this thing does
Well,
somewhat,
yeah.
Somewhat close.
Say that again.
The,
Say that again, Ron, so that Darren can sample it.
They're bloody expensive.
There you go, Darren. Get that in your track.
Do you want me to say crikey as well?
Crikey.
But they're the cheap ones, aren't they, Rants? Because Yamaha do like ones, and they're like 300 quid, 400 pounds just for a box to kind of harmonise yourself.
Yeah, yeah. And you think this was just a little free thing that you can chuck in your own? Like, seriously, what you could do now is you've got an audio interface coming in through, if you've got one of those USB microphones, you can sing into it. You don't even have to you can then start harmonizing and auto-tuning, and all of a sudden now you can be one of these latest R&B artists now with your MPC. Without even trying. Without even trying. All right, so I think we probably need to check out what the chatties are saying, because they're probably getting frustrated and there's a million things that they're probably asking us. Ask us questions, guys and girls. Ask us questions.
Sasquatch is asking, so it can record audio and MIDI and sequences all together?
Yep.
Yes, you can.
Yep.
And you can even condense it to a WAV file.
Yep.
So you can,
You can do stems on it and all that, export it. And you can also export it to Ableton projects. as well. That's another thing you can do with it. Oh, now that was the other thing. Do you guys want to hear some of the new patches on the Argon 8? That might be a thing.
But why not? So, grand piano.
Now,
can I ask you, has either of you downloaded the grand piano for the MPC from the site?
No, because I think
it comes with a piano in it. You get a free piano.
No, I mean I know, but there's a one that's quite a big sample one.
I honestly,
it might be one you have to pay for.
To be honest, it comes with enough sounds that, I mean, we've all got quite a lot of kit here. I mean, if you just were a sampling guy, then maybe you might bother. But it's got so much in it. Do you really need to be buying more?
I don't think so.
Right.
I think you should test.
I haven't done it. So.
Yeah, test it out. See what you think. It's got piano synth in it.
Okay, I have to plug.
And it's got.
There's an electric piano synth in it. There's the electric, but I mean, I'm talking about a big acoustic grand piano.
Well, let's
I've
have
not
a look.
found
Hold on.
a decent piano sound on it.
Just as Andy's moved away from menu diving and gone to sort of more hands-on modular, now you're dragging him back into the MPC.
Drag me back into the MPC. I'll be spending all next week on it. I have to. I'm sorry. I've got no choice now. I'll not be able to come back onto the stream unless I've actually learned how to use that fucking MPC. Excuse me for swearing. It just scares the bloody willies out of me every time I switch it on. But yes. It's
the thing is, you've got to click with your eyes, basically.
There's got to come. I think with anything, yeah, I know that it's something that I didn't take to like a duck to water, and some people will. I struggled with it, and I still struggle. However, that doesn't mean to say that I can't get there in the end. I've got to be able to. So I'm actually quite looking forward to downloading this and get. You're probably right, but getting these new plugins.
If you don't click with it in the first couple of weeks, you start to get annoyed with it and just switch to something else and start using that. That's what used to happen to me.
That's what I'm hoping to be inspired to get back into it. Who was playing the piano sounds then? Was that you, Lisa?
Can you guys hear that bass sound?
Bass sound? That sounds like more of a...
No. I'm actually playing the Argon.
No.
I'm playing the Argon. I just want to see if I've got it.
I think we can hear. I think we can hear Lisa playing the grand.
Okay, what about now?
Yeah, you can hear that.
Okay, good. All right, let's go across to the Argon. So I just had to connect it up. All right, so if we go to the patch preset manager, there's like all these new presets.
Sorry, he heard bass, that was all. Told you don't play bass, for God's sake.
What? Aaron, what are you talking about?
Sorry, he hit bass, didn't he? You don't have on bass before.
Rave Dave is back.
Let's get this going. There's a heap of new sounds in here. I'm just adjusting the little joystick on the Argon. And what it's doing is it's mixing in between the wave mods, which you guys can see right here. It's a really good synth, this is, if you want to just sort of blend sounds and stuff. It's really, really cool. All the different waveforms, there's so many. Like chaos waveform, how cool is that? Crazy. I actually haven't had a chance to listen to a lot of this, so this is the first time for me as well. Digitals always do glass bells well. I don't know about that. Sounds FM-y. Yeah, definitely some better sounds and patches in here for sure. Oh, that's like a big sine wave, isn't it? All right, let's go back to us. That was a little bit of a taste. Oh, Rave Dave is back. A bit of a taste of the Argon 8, some of the new patches. He liked the bass. He liked the bass. Let's see what the chatties are saying quickly. Give us more doorbells. Yeah, I know. Dogman Oil, says Adsy Fazzy. I think these ones were kind of like the whole beauty of this synth is really probably...
It has an 80s sound, doesn't it?
It's kind of that, it's got a little bit of that Korg DW8000 kind, a little bit, I think.
Yeah, but PPGs, it was reminding me, some of those sounds you're playing were reminding me of sort of...
PPGs, yeah.
The sounds off, yeah, exactly, off like Some Great Reward or Construction Time Again, you know, those mid-period Depeche Mode albums. Yeah, I really like, really quite cool.
It's so super cheap. This
metallic and cold.
Yeah, it does have a real sort of digital edge
industrial
to it.
Noise. We like that.
Yeah, I think so. Wow, we had so much to get through.
Nice warm.
I have to say, I want to thank Lisa a lot because she's put a lot of effort into coming on the show today and showing some of those things, and her knowledge on the MPC is really, really good to pick her brain on some of the stuff. I just kind of think where we're at now. I've had this MPC firmware for 24 hours. So what we've shown you and what I know about this firmware is 24 hours new. You know what I mean? And that's what we got through. We spent a good hour talking about this today for you guys. It's a lot to get through, and there's a heap more. There's what you can do with all this stuff is crazy. The next thing for me is the drum and the key group engine stuff I want to muck around with, because I think that's going to be fun, like mucking around with those tails. That's something I've been wanting for a long time, listening to the way samples handle tails. It's the way samples shouldn't cut tails off. I remember in the early days with the MPC, you had the clips. Do you remember that, Lisa? And if you changed screens, it would stop playing clips. It was like some really, really basic stuff that just disappeared. And now, you wouldn't even know. People wouldn't even remember that these days. So they wouldn't know really cool.
They don't really know how far and how much we've been given for free. Free.
Yeah.
I mean,
it's
no
the free
updates,
thing
no
that's amazing.
paid updates.
Yeah.
And
you've already made the investment,
got,
just the fact that it's free.
Now we've got parameter locking, and we've got per step, like Electron machines, and we've got that randomizer for the drum and key groups. Is it the drum groups, I think? But things like that, it's just all for free.
Yep. The thing to realise too is that they didn't have to. They could have made these updates, a fee or a subscription, or they could have done like other companies have done. And the other thing they could have done too is they could have made each one of these major updates a new piece of hardware that you would have had to have gone by for it to work on. And like no one really knows what goes on underneath these in the electronics. In the box.
These guys are clever, aren't they? Because what they've done is created a fan base. By doing what they've done, I'd never really touched an MPC. I bought it because it was vaguely better than the Therese Dean, the Pioneer box at the time.
Yeah.
I looked at it and went, I'm not going to buy that. And then 2 weeks later, I thought, yeah, I'll buy that one. And now I'm a fanboy or fangirl now. Do you know what I mean? I'm completely 100% MPC lover. So,
yeah. Yeah, like X101 saying something about the Machine Plus. I don't know. I don't want to tread on anyone's toes here, but I mean, I did a show a few years ago where we talked about the most unused hardware, or and the Machine Studio came out. That's my what do you call it? Example when Darren was using his fader port. I can't remember what Lisa had, but there was a whole bunch of stuff that we showed, and the Machine Studio was my example of the most unused piece of gear. So if we're going to talk about Native Instruments, I think it's I use Native Instruments complete. I think there's heaps of stuff in there I use all the time. There's nothing wrong with the company. I just think it's one of those things. If it doesn't really sort of work with the way you think your brain works, then it's never ever going to work, no matter how hard you try. It's a bit like with the Electron stuff, I guess, as well. So if you're in that Native Instruments world already, if you've used the Studio or have used the, what's the other one called? The Plus, that's the standalone one, and there's the other one that they brought out, which is the one that you need your laptop with. I forget what it's called. But yeah, those Native Instruments machine firmware, hardware things that you've got, if you're in that world, you're going to want to stay in that world because that's what you're used to. And no one here is saying to you, oh, you now need to drop all that and go and get an MPC. That's not what we're saying. We're just saying, hey, look, this is what the MPC can do. If you're sitting there and you're thinking to yourself, I actually think what the MPC can do is actually pretty cool, but I've got a Native Instruments machine. Do I need to now think a little bit harder about the relationship that I've got with machine versus maybe I should go down and that's up to you. Do you know what I mean? That's no one can tell you to do that. No one can rubbish on your decisions or anything like that. I have seen some songs made with machine that are amazing that I probably wouldn't know how to do on an MPC. So there's arguments pro and con with all this stuff. So don't let anyone sort of tell you, that if you've got a Machine Plus that they're rubbish or anything like that. That's your decision.
It's a daft sort of thing to say, isn't it? I mean, you think.
Just
sorry,
let Lisa go first. Sorry, she was just.
Sasquatch is asking, can you show him like what a session looks like? But I'm not sure what he really wants to know.
Is that what he means? The sequencer?
No, a session.
A session.
A sequence. Yeah, a sequence. Sorry. What does a sequence look like in the MPC world? So I think he's.
Does he mean like session view, as in how Ableton looks? What's it like in the MPC?
No, I think he's talking.
I think it's meaning like an arrangement page.
Oh no, that's the force that's got arrangement.
No, well, we have clips just like the force, but then a session is a group of tracks which can be part of a song.
Yeah, the song.
Yes.
Yeah.
So you can have our version of clip launching would be session launching. So we would have 8 tracks in a session, then a different 8 tracks in another session. And the way we would launch those kind of sessions or those clips would be in a sequence. And we'd change sequence, wouldn't we?
Yeah. So you've got, there's your hierarchy there. You've got sequence and tracks, and you've got MIDI tracks, and you've got audio tracks as well. And your MIDI tracks are all these options here. You've got plugins, clips, MIDI. So if you've got actual external MIDI connected, even CV, because in some of the MPCs they've got CV connect. I don't on my live, but on the other ones they do. So you can have CV tracks. So any of those are potentially MIDI tracks, and then obviously any recorded audio tracks, you can have up to 8 audio tracks as well on top of that. And then that's just in that one sequence. So that's your topology of how the MPC that's the backbone of your MPC project basically. Now within your sequence is your master sort of setting. It's the BPM, it's the amount of bars, all that sort of stuff is in your sequence. But your tracks can be decoupled from that. They can be shorter, longer. There's ways to muck around with that. Then you've also got ways to launch this stuff. So for example, you can perform live and you can do things like track muting. You can have track groups, and when that means that when one track is launched, it might mute because it's in a group, so you can do grouping. So there's all sorts of crazy stuff there. But like Inchi's saying, say for example, your song progression needs to change from a verse to a chorus, then that would probably be your next sequence. You would go to your next sequence. That's how you work that way. And then you have multiple sequences.
You can do that via the pads, and you can choose whether to do it immediately or within the next bar, can't you?
Yeah. Yeah, and you can time them to being part of the program, or you can time them to be immediate, or you can time them to be the next bar. There's all sorts of little settings that you can muck around with. It's deep as anything. Pretty much what you're thinking that you can do in a DAW, you could kind of do in this. It does it a little bit differently. You have to kind of know a little bit about how MPCs work in a way. But I think if you use things like step sequences or arrangement sequences, that sort of, once you sort of get your head around that, I think it's pretty basic from there on. One thing I like about the MPC is if you just want to record something like a bunch of MIDI notes, you just hit record and play, and you've then got them in depending on how long your bar is, all that sort of stuff. It can even do without you even recording. You can start just playing on your MIDI keyboard as long as it's plugged into the MIDI input or USB port on the back of your MPC. It can, even if you haven't hit record, it can go back and pick up what you last played. I think there's a, what is that called, Lisa?
Retrospect recording.
Yeah, there's a limit to how far it goes back.
Yeah, but it's still, that feature, I thought I'm never going to use that feature. And then 5 minutes later, it's the one feature I used.
I use it a lot.
Oh.
Yeah.
So.
Because you have your happy accidents, right? We all, as musicians, have happy accidents all the time. And you think, oh, I actually didn't mind that. I should have hit record. Damn. Nah, you got retro or retrospective record. So that's kind of how MPCs work that way. It's more, it's confining you to a certain way, but aren't all.
I felt it liberating, because going from a linear DAW like Logic, and I've looked at Ableton, which is very loop based. This is kind of the best of both worlds. You can work in a linear fashion if you want, or you can work in a looping fashion, or you can make clips like you would in Ableton. So there isn't one way of working in it. There's several ways of working in it. Yeah. You get to choose it doesn't make you choose, which is what I like about it.
And then then it starts messing with your head when you can do things like resampling and sample down and layers, and like that's where the power of this thing goes crazy. That's also where a lot of people report that they've actually pushed the hardware to its limits. So this thing probably can do a lot more than what the hardware possibly is able to handle.
Disc streaming, I see this as like, you know, the wave state where you've got like streams of audio and you play them. This you can do that on this, or very long samples. And you can change those samples in any way you want. And you can automate the changes in those samples any way you want. So I really wanted a wave state. I really wanted one. And then about an hour later, I thought, well, can't I do that in the MPC? And you can. And if we get disc streaming, which I believe is coming to the Force, then we're away, really, aren't we? The Force can be a DJ machine. And this will be unstoppable, really.
Yeah, I mean, like I still like the way that the way that MPC and the Force are different in the way the clips work is probably still, to me, the delineation between the two. And the fact that it's got the new update with this arrangement mode and that is actually killer. So I think the way the Force is at the moment is still quite a lot different to the MPC, but they have so much. What's the word? They have so much similarities that when you go from one to the other, you're not lost in it. It's kind of like, this is what this does, but it feels comfortable because that's what their operating system looks like.
If you come from an Ableton background, you're going to understand the Force. You're just going to pick it up straight away. Whereas I didn't. I came from a Logic background, and I've had it 2 or 3 years since it came out. And I still struggle with it, even though I should know where everything is, and I don't. Yet the MPC, I got it within 2 weeks, and I'd never touched an MPC. So you've got to do your research in which is going to work for you. But if you're coming from an Ableton background, then yeah, the Force is the one to get, really. But I like the choice, the MPC. I just wish we'd had those effects. You know, the DJ style effects we got on the Force. I was kind of hoping for those.
Oh, but, yeah. They might. I mean, because they can't. That doesn't really sort of. Those things don't really sort of make the Force the Force. They're kind of just nice things that the Force has got. They might. You never know.
Yeah. I'm going to make up a controller to mine, so my MPC, so I'll make it do it the same.
If you're wondering what good controllers are, we've talked about this before, but the APC Mini, which I've got here in front of me, that I'm actually, and you've also got the Novation Launch Control, which I've also got as well. Both of them are actually really good. That
gives you 16 times what you can see. So you've got 16 times these buttons, 16 times these faders, 16 times these knobs, all that can be mapped on the MPC without using a computer.
Yeah.
So you can have
So you can have a screen, like for example, you might have your track mute screen on, and then you might map all that stuff that Lisa's got on the launch key. You might have that launch control, to maybe your audio tracks or something.
So maybe these would be like the faders for 8 tracks. But say I'm on this button here, and this would be my drum section. So then I might have this to reverse the drum sample, which I quite like doing. And you can do that momentary, or you can have it on and off, or you can... and then I might have... this next one might be a synth, and I might have like some effects, or polyphony, or glide, or stuff like that. And I'll have those all mapped to here. So it's really where your mind stops, really.
Yeah. That's an older firmware update that gave us that. But like now, if you start thinking about the fact that now we've got audio interface, we've got, controller interface, we've got MIDI implementation. The only thing MIDI implementation is missing, as I say a million times, is the transpose. But also, I would love the MPC to be able to assign MIDI in on. So, for example, I might want to have a MIDI in set to a channel that will then control something within the MPC tracks. So that's something that you can't do yet, which I think would be a cool thing to have as well.
What do you mean?
So say for example, I want to have, I want to control, you know, the new plugin synths, right? So I want to have plugin synth track is on track 1. It might be the Solina. Track 2 is the Mellotron. Track 3 is the Odyssey. What you can't do is you can't change MIDI channels on your controller. So you've got a little key step to channel 1, channel 2, channel 3.
Oh, right, yeah.
And you can't then automatically play the.
You sure?
No, you can't yet. And that's a simple thing that I would love it to do. So it's not possible yet. It's global.
Hasn't it got input? Hasn't it got input and it's got all and then it's got 1, 2, 3, 4?
I haven't seen it. So is that a new thing? Yes, you're checking. If that's a new thing, I haven't seen it. Hang on a sec. There's a thing in chat. Let me just click that. Another one's done that. While she's looking, let's have a quick look at the chatties. Best linear sequencer. Yeah, look, linear sequencers are good fun. There's nothing wrong with it's. I'm a believer of linear sequencers as well. I like them. I mean trackers. God, Adamski's talking about trackers. Talking about trackers, my favorite tracker is the Poly N tracker. It's awesome. I love that thing. And it like Andy says, it does people's heads in. But if you've got a bit of history with the tracker, it's a godsend. It's a cool thing. Yeah, kind of where I want to go with this now is I think I would like to. It's kind of weird because this firmware update sort of brought me back to my MPC, which I'd been not using as much lately. I'd been mucking around with a whole bunch of other stuff. So, and I kind of needed to get back to the MPC because I've got a track that I need to finish and it's going to have to go through the MPC because that's the way I work. It's my workflow. So it's kind of given me a little bit of a, kid in the candy shop sort of vibe. It's like, ooh, new things. And, all of a sudden you're touching it. Where would you guys like to go next with this? I think, not today, but another time, do you guys feel that should we do like a basic MPC show?
Okay.
Where Lisa and I are just talking about the basic stuff? Do you reckon that would help? Lisa, did you want to say something?
That'd be useful.
Yeah, apparently, well, on my MPC, when you've got MIDI in, it's got a Choria key step, and then it's got all 1, 2, 3. So you can pick a MIDI channel in for each synth.
You can now. Ooh,
so I haven't checked it out whether it would work. I mean, it's saying it's one thing. Whether it will work that way is another. But you have to go into the icon on the track. So if you go into your icon, the little eye on the top left, the little eye on the top left. No, the eye where you get your effects. The little eye thing in the left. That's it.
Yeah,
and then you go to the next.
I was wondering what you meant by eye. So the expandy thing. Yeah.
No, the one. Click the button next to the one that's lit. The other side. Sorry, Rans. That one. Right.
There it
MIDI
is.
input. Press all. Where it says.
Press it.
And you can
select a port. All right, let's try this. So that is the Odyssey on brass, right? Let's do that. So it's coming from any device. Let's just leave it as any because that's fine. And then let's do another track, which we're going to make as a plugin, and we'll do the Solina.
Oh, you can only use one at once, can you?
No, that's fine.
Okay.
No.
No, you can use up to 8 different ones.
Oh, I see.
8 different plugins, Andrew.
And then let's make that as 2.
So what did that message actually mean then?
All right, hang on a sec, guys. Let me just try this. So this should be... Hang on, we're going to turn this effects off. Wait. Turn the stutter off. Off, you. Get off. All right, and then we go to channel 2. No.
But all ports, MIDI input, all ports, does it need to be? No.
I mean, I can force it to do that. Let's go back to
Send
here.
to track 2. Oh no.
Oh, hang on, I didn't arm it.
No,
I haven't armed it. Let's go to MIDI 1. No, it's not working. Because that's this, isn't it? That's this thing. We don't want to arm it. We don't want to merge it. We want it on in. There we go. So that's playing, you can see in there, that's playing the first one. And if I change to MIDI channel 2, it's the same sound, but it's the other track.
Change the plugin completely. Change it to a completely different plugin.
Yep.
Yeah.
So you can hit, yeah. Anything will do.
Hype. See, what's this error mess? Program is used in 2 tracks. Assigning a new plugin will alter both.
You've got to press. Doesn't matter if you don't care. Just press
I'll
do
just
it
go new,
or
I'll
new
just go
program.
new program. Yeah.
And then when you
Here we go. Now we change to middle channel 1. Yay! It's working.
hey,
Yay!
See?
It's a feature that I've always wanted. There we go. That's brilliant. Well done.
there you go.
And it was
Happy.
there all along.
No, it hasn't
Bloody
been
hell,
there
Ranzee.
all along. It's been. It must have been one of the most recent updates. I don't think it was
No,
this
it's
one, but a recent
no,
one.
it's a MIDI one. It was
MIDI
when
one.
we got the proper MIDI. Yeah,
Okay.
I only know that
2.8.
because I've
Yeah.
struggled for hours, Rans.
Yeah.
I've struggled
that's
for
huge.
hours.
That makes that thing so cool because now you can, like for example, this little MRCC thing that I've got here has all that kind of MIDI routing, cool stuff now. Plug that into the back of the MPC and you're just going nuts. You got MIDI routing, you got audio routing, you got. Next we'll just need sampling routing. Yay, Lisa solves it,
Some
as
grouting.
Ken says. Yeah.
Lisa, the MPC expert. Well done with that one, Lisa. That was great.
Well, we've been going for 2.5 hours. No wonder I'm getting tired. I can feel myself being tired.
Yeah.
Is it cider time yet? I deserve a cider for that, don't I?
So you can have 2 MIDI sources triggering 2 different sounds simultaneously. Yes. So that the opposite to what I did, I think, is kind of what you're saying. So I could. So you see, this is the third option down. It's like your routing table in a way, your track routing table. But see how I've got the Arturia key step as my MIDI input. I could have something else. And it could be.
You can also send one track to another track, to another track, to another track, rather than putting them on. You can have it on all, so it controls all the tracks. But if you want to control all the tracks at once, so that all the sounds come at once, when you go back into that little menu where you change the number rans, you can send to. You just no underneath. You forget that. See that you can send track 1. Yeah, whatever track you're not on to the other track. So you do that. Fire off at the same time.
It can. Let me do it on the first track first. So let me do it on that track, and then we'll make that fire off to the second track.
Track 2, and that way you've armed both of them. I think you have to arm them both.
both firing. I don't like doing it that way though. I like having more linear control. You know, more sort of, yeah. But that's obviously part of that feature, which is an older feature, as you said, but it's just something I didn't know about. Cool. Beautiful. By the way, I've never had to actually use it internally in the MPC because the other cool thing about having external USB, MIDI routing and all that sort of stuff, you can do all that sort of stuff on the outside via USB. So it's nice to know that it's in there, but you don't have to do it inside. You can do it on the outside as well. So with all your MIDI inputs and outputs and all that sort of stuff. Yes. Big hello to Suzanne and goodbye to Suzanne. Yeah, it is good for stacking synths. So you can do it the opposite way. You can have it so that you can play, you know, multiple things at once. The other cool thing about that, Lisa, would be that once you've got those MIDI things stacked, for example, like what X101's saying, is then you sample that, right? And then you've actually got all those stacked synths that you've just controlled with one MIDI controller. Now it's a sample, and then you can then get a whole bunch more of other plugin synths, stack those, and then layer that with the previous sample, and all of a sudden now you've just got some big, thick sausage mess happening in your sampler.
Some of the best synths I've made, or synth sounds, have been through samples of reversing stuff, weird stuff. That you go, hold on, do I really need synths? You know?
Yeah. You could make a silly sound with your voice, and then granular and effects and resample it and reverse it, you know, and all of a sudden now you've got a synth sound.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yep, absolutely.
Brilliant.
I think there's limitations with these things as there are with your computer, as there are with your Eurorack. There's limitations with everything, but I think the limitations are getting to the point now on the MPC where it's not really a hindrance. When we first started, like 2017, there were so many limitations. Like when I went from MPC 1000 to the MPC Live, it was not a massive improvement. There was a nice touch screen, there was some features, blah, 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 but there wasn't a massive improvement. But now there is it's a massive Grand Canyon of void of improvement. So yeah, yes, layering is good. Sausage making is also good. Sausage making and layering is
sausage
good.
making.
Darren,
Ken, does that mean you're compressing everything to the nth degree, or are you actually making sausages? Proper making your own sausages with skins and a lot.
Yeah. Well,
just interested to know.
One of the cool things about the Argon 8 that we were talking about before is that you can actually plug that into the back of your MPC, and it will show up as a MIDI device. So you can use your MPC to sequence your Argon 8, cool. And then you can put the Argon 8 into your new audio class compliant interface into the back of your MPC and actually sample it as well at the same time. So,
yay, Chris is here.
Big hello to Chris. Good morning. Hope you have your coffee. We're finishing up soon, so we won't be here for much longer. We've been going.
Sorry, Chris, we're buggering off now.
Yeah, almost 3 hours.
Nothing you said, honest. But at this point, can I just prove? Can I just prove
the range of the track so you can play two different synths at once? The same? No, you can't set key range. No. It's not that level of MIDI implementation that I know of. Although Lisa's already proved me wrong with one point. But you can do key ranges with the MRCC. So if you've got one of those sort of things, you can do that.
It's interesting, but what Lisa's just demonstrated would make me think that what you're doing is you're setting all those tracks to receive on incoming MIDI channels. So if you've actually set up a key, different key zones on your keyboard on different MIDI channels,
you could
then
do that,
in theory it ought to respond. So
yeah, you could do that.
Right? Can I just jump in and take this opportunity to prove that?
But Andy,
to prove that
you can't do that on your MPC. Is what I'm saying.
Oh, I see that you've got to set them up to receive on the different channels.
You got it,
and then you've got to set it up on your master keyboard. Right, I'm with you. Yeah, I'm with you. Yeah, I get that.
Go.
Oh, my bit is utterly irrelevant and trivial. However, I do feel the need that I have to prove Her Imperial Majesty wrong by showing her that I do know where the on button is.
It was off though.
Oh, I left it off deliberately.
Yeah, you might have to touch it if it was off.
Was it going off? That's what Darren wants to know. Darren wants to know if it was going off, like in the rave. Ask Dave if it's gone off. Like a frog in a sock, Darren.
Frog in a sock.
So now Andy's
It's because you hit that bass note. That's what it was.
I'm going to be hitting a few bass notes after the show. Let me tell you.
He can turn it on, but he doesn't know how to turn it off.
He has to go and rip a circuit breaker out of his out of the main building.
We've got some nice colours on it now. I'll tell you what. Sometimes the touchscreen drives me nuts. So I'll tell you that is it can be quite irritating.
Why?
It doesn't always. No, I find it doesn't
the piano
always respond
roll.
when I hit it. No, I mean I'm talking about when you plug in here, you got to hit and some of those icons. Why is this icon so mini tiny? You want to put a plugin in, and the plugin icon is like tiny. It's like these tiny millimeters. It's just got, and where is it? Oh, some of that does irritate me.
Can I just point out the obvious, right?
He's not clicking with it.
Yeah.
Why so high up? Why haven't you moved the electron?
Do you know, Lisa? Lisa, actually, you're not wrong. I mean, when I set it up like this, that seemed like a really good idea, and our plans are afoot to actually replace this whole. It's all everything's going to come out. I'm going to do a Darren and change it out. And the way I want this is that I want it. I want it so that I can't do it because it's all wired, so that it's actually more there. So and virtually upright, so I can just do that. You're right. This is what looks like a good idea.
Upright.
Well, I mean, we'll find a way, or it'll go over this side.
So if you look at this,
no, I need it,
Andy. If you look at this side here, where Inky and I are, we've got
want them flat.
We've got them flat, and if you look at that side, not that side, sorry, that's where you guys have got them all raised up. Yeah, yeah, that side.
Yeah, but
the great divide.
I haven't got any room. But look at this. You see, that's all hands free, and I can see everything perfect.
You see, just
like
Darren's got his little Waldorf box. That's how you want.
Come on, let's see you touch the art. The top slide.
The top slider.
Yes, sir.
It's got to get up.
All right then.
I think
Darren's
taking it rather to extremes. If I'm standing up, it works perfectly fine. But I find when I'm sitting down here, I can't see the blessed thing. You're dead right, Lisa. It's in the wrong place, really.
Are you talking about this icon here? You reckon that's too small?
No, go back onto your ordinary the main screen where you have all your track selects.
My main screen.
No. Well, we were just on it there. I don't know.
That's my main screen, right?
Yeah. No, why is you on there? You've got a nice big white square around your plugin thing. On this, it's bloody tiny.
Look,
So basically, if I have an MPC, I need glasses as well because I need glasses.
Once you click off that button, if you click on the keyboard button next to it now. Right, that gets a nice white square around it, and that plug goes. You can see how tiny, minuscule it is.
It's not tiny. You can fit your finger on there.
You know where it is, Andy. You're not going to.
That's the little pad. You're not putting your whole hand on it. Oh, I'm going to hit plug-in. Plug-in.
How do you type on a phone? How do you type on a phone if you can't?
Very badly, Lisa. You've no idea how much of a frustration typing in on a bloody phone is.
Lisa, Andy might have these humongous fingers that we just haven't seen yet because he hides them.
I really don't. just
look. And he's just got everything like in proportion.
It's not flowing for him. Leave him alone.
He's like the Hobbit, right? From Lord of the Rings. Everything's in proportion when you see the house, but when we go on there, we're all like to these tiny little miniature people.
Lily
throw yourself in next time and rid us of your stupidity. Yeah, thank you. The Hobbit, Lilliput, Gulliver's Travels, any more literary reference? And I'm going to throw Franz Kafka at me now.
You're only using the little
turn into a beetle
pad of your finger, the little tiny tip of it, the pad. You're not using the whole finger. So don't tell me that's too small. I'll tell you what's too small. Those bloody Electron screens, they're too small. That's what's too small.
I ain't got one of those, so I'm not bothered.
And the MPC 707 screen. Really want
you did right.
Yep.
Yeah. Lisa, are you going to come on next week?
I need a 40-inch screen, so...
Come on, come on next week if you can, and nag me about my progress, because I'm going to take it out and I'm going to sit and I will spend time this week really trying to thoroughly learn it. So if you can come on in sometime in the near future, so you and also mercilessly nag me every day via text messages or on Facebook or whatever, because I will. All right.
Oh, is Max
just so I can peel apart the game.
Max still in there? He is. This is just for Mac.
Yeah. Well.
Ooh, what is this?
Oh, way up.
What is
threaded
this?
rails. Oh, it's a luxury. It's a luxury. Where are you going to stick that then? Don't answer that question.
This and 10 and 9 more. You mean? That's part of my new rack case, and so I am almost at the wood stage. One of the things I love about these actually is that the mounting of these. Let's just have a quick look at this. The mounting of these is from the inside into your wood.
Yeah.
So if you've got a nice piece of wood, nice big thick piece of wood on the side of it, you won't see any screws on the outside. Beautiful. And you guys will be happy to know that they're threaded. There's none of this sliding stuff. They're threaded. Yes. In fact, I'll show you how many there are. God help me. There's what the threaded bit looks like. You can slide them out. And there's a heap of them. Look at them all. Heaps. Look at that. Look how many I got. Stacks of them.
Blimey.
Stacks of them.
What are you building? Are you building a house to put you?
So each one of those is 104 HP. Right? 104 HP. Mm-hmm. And I've got 2 lots of 5 tiers. So there'll be 2 separate cases. There you go. Ooh. Yep. See, Max already.
Yeah,
yes.
Max one.
And black, yes, black. I was going to get silver, but I thought no, black. Got to be black. Actually, it takes time to think about these things, right? When you're building a Eurorack case, I mean, for me, those rail kits, I was originally going to get the tip-top ones, and I ended up getting not the tip-top ones. I ended up getting one that was made here in Australia because they were half the price and just as good, in fact, better. But not only that, when you're actually looking at that sort of stuff, you've got to look at whether you can afford it. Like that, those 10 little rail assemblies cost me 880 Australian dollars, including freight. Freight was about 100 because it's a lot. Freight's expensive here. So that's a lot of money.
It's a lot.
To be putting a case together. So you got to start thinking about all the costs that you've got. And I had to sit there and think to myself, can I afford it? And it was probably about, when I actually think about it, when I started talking about making this case, it was about 6 months ago. There was no way I could afford that back then because I just had too many other things going out of my bank account. So you just don't want to have like those expenses just always hemorrhaging. And I haven't bought any modules for a while. So
and then you've got to fill it with modules.
Well, that's the other problem. Is when I make these 2 cases, I'm going to have something like 1,000 HP, 1,000 and something. You guys do the math.
Wow. Well, so, my 240 HP. When there's another 2 modules coming on Monday morning. There's the module that you recommended, that sort of mixer, the CV mixer. But I've also bought a dedicated buffered malt. I bought the Dupfer buffered malt. So that will go in, and that will be seriously me with an almost full case. There'll be next to no room in it after that. And so that begs the question as to what happens. What do I do? What do I do next? Do I buy another Go
get
case
another
and a set of
case and fill it
brackets?
again.
I think that is what's going to happen, Darren.
Those Behringer
Ultimately,
cases
I'm going to end up.
Those Behringer cases.
They've now got the brackets, haven't they? So
yeah. So that you could just do that. I mean, I was
yeah.
before I went and bought that because I sat on the idea of getting those rail assemblies for a while because it's a lot of money. And I was thinking, maybe I might just get the bracket from Behringer and just do 2 Go cases. It's not bad. But then I thought, no, I want to see this project through because I've already bought the bus boards, I've already bought the power supplies. I could resell them, but I want to see it through. I actually want to have a nice. I want it to be.
I think you'll find that very satisfying, actually, Rans.
I'm going to be using like Australian Jarrah wood, which is a hardwood here in Australia. It looks beautiful.
Nice. Yeah.
So it becomes a piece of furniture in your studio, and you kind of it's not just a function. It's also something that has to look nice. I don't want it just looking sort of crazy and mad. There was an actual comment in there I wanted to find that someone said. What's it gone? Sasquatch is saying just consider the benefits. Yeah, I agree. No, where did I see it? The comment just appeared now. Yeah, no, it's gone. Maybe it disappeared off the screen. Weird. Yeah, it is. Oh, there it is. Not Sasquatch. Max said that's not a bad run. I spent £250 on 2 cases of rails with 4 rows. Yeah, okay. So, there's the Arzus, or whatever they're called, the tip-top audio ones, worked out to be double the price. And the problem with that is the cost probably wasn't really originally what double, but because they're made in, Belgrade or wherever they're made, and they're shipped all the way over the world just to come here, I just thought to myself, thinking about, environment and shipping and all that sort of stuff, just the guy who makes these makes them in Australia, and it's not anywhere near as bad. So
can you specify the width down to can you say, right, I've got a box here, and this box is let's say 80 centimeters wide, and I want the rails to fit in that.
You can.
Or is it always these sort of 84, 104, 140?
You can make a custom length if you want. You have to just hack it off. If you can, try and work within the ones though that the 104, the 80, whatever it is. Try and work within that. But when you actually do end up putting it inside a box, there's going to be the width of the wood on each side. Do you know what I mean? It's not just the actual rail itself, because the rail itself, if you look at that closely, there's that ends, and then you've got camera focus. Then you've got another piece of metal which is also a certain thickness on the end of it, and then you've got a piece of wood on the inside. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. So there's all sorts of tiny little things that you've got to take into consideration when you're building it. Then there's good little bits of free CAD software out there that you can download onto your computer, and you can put all these things into it, and it will work it all out for you. So
I have never ever looked at those things. I've seen them using them in school, and we've got obviously a guy in school who teaches that stuff. So I'll probably pick his brain and say, right, design me a case, see what happens. Because they've got wood and stuff in the.
That means you see what happens. It means you've got to find money to fill it.
Look, there's heaps of guys in all the different Wiggler type forums that will talk about how it's actually a really good thing to be using old bits of wood to make your case up, and it's actually quite sought after. Like, people say, oh, I want to have it all looking perfect, like a brand new piece of furniture. But at the same time, there's that kind of the e-waste sort of side of it, where you're looking at trying to save your environment. It's a good thing. And sometimes if you do it well, it can look nice. If you mix a few different shades of wood together, it can look quite nice. Mac, I've got the power supplies already. I've got the Meanwell. I think I mentioned them before a couple of months ago. The Meanwell power supplies. I'll talk to you about it later anyway. So unfortunately, I've already bought my power supplies. They actually work really well for URAC, and a lot of guys in Wiggler forums rave about them. I already had a bunch here that I used for a different project, which was to do a retro computing for Amigas and Commodore 64s and things. So it made it a very simple decision just to use those. In terms of filtering power and things like that, those bus boards that I've got that you've recommended are actually pretty good. There's some nice, decent capacitor arrays on them. So I'm quite happy with that particular setting. So I think with all the power and everything, I think we're good to go. I might need to work out exactly how many power supplies I'm going to need. If I'm using 5 tier and there's 104 HP on each tier, that's if I put a lot of modules in there, that I could run out of power pretty quickly. So you've got to be careful of that sort of stuff. And that's something I'll be looking at. Yeah, all right. I think wow, hit the 3-hour mark. Oops.
Blimey, we have, yeah. Cool.
That's a big show.
Yeah, sorry, everyone. I'm amazed you're still here.
Yeah. I enjoyed it, though. It was good fun. I mean, like, there's so much you can do on this MPC stuff, and you still, haven't covered it all. So I think I really do think, Andy, you'll probably benefit if we do a show on the basics. Like Lisa and I come on and we'll just go through basic stuff.
Well, maybe by this time next week, I might have actually mastered the basics.
Yeah.
You never know.
I'll bet you.
I've actually got through some of them already. All right, thanks. It's not that I haven't actually ever used the thing. It's just, I have started and I have got into some of the bits, and I have actually done a little bit of sampling on it before, believe it or not. So I'm not a total muppet with it. Well, I am actually.
Instead of looking at it as a chore, be experimental like you would with your modular. So get a sample,
you're right,
and then do everything to mess around with it. So reverse it, then put another sample in, and reverse that on the same pad. Then chuck some different effects on it. Just make it different as it was from the original sample, and I think you'll learn that way.
Mm.
Yeah, I think you're right. I just go sitting down and doing. And it's about bloody time. I keep saying, I'll do it, and then other things get in the way. But next week, I've got 3 dental appointments next week, and starting on Monday morning, and it's pretty heavy. So I will not be. I'll virtually self-isolated because for various reasons, I'm not going to really be able to go out. So that's a task I've set myself to do. So I will do.
You got some time on your sleeve, yeah. I'm going to answer a question that...
And it's summer holidays now, I'm not at school, so...
I want to answer a question that Chris has asked in the chat. He asked me, how long do you think it will take to finish the rack or the case? Well, now all I've got to do is cut the wood up and mount everything and then wire all the bus boards in and the power supplies. So it's pretty much the build, the cutting it. I'd say we're probably a quarter of the way in. So we've still got 3/4 if you're looking at it as a total project. We're about a quarter of the way in. The cutting of the wood and all that sort of stuff is, I'm just going to take my time with it. I want it to be done right. And yeah, so I'll start vlogging all this stuff now. Now that I've got my rail kits. So yeah, be good fun. On that note, I think we should probably call it quits for the day. Definitely. Darren, you've been absolutely like we actually had trouble to shut you up today, so just behave yourself, okay?
Thank you for being patient, Alan.
My voice is just. My voice is just.
And it's not even
brave Dave.
Yeah.
He's not even had his chewy things to keep him company.
Yeah,
he has. Oh, he has.
I have.
No, he has. Yeah, he has. Yeah, a little sneaky little nibble he had earlier.
He's been muting himself. Yeah.
Oh, that was funny last
tomorrow,
week, though.
It was, yeah. Tomorrow, yeah. Tell us your
tomorrow is a very thoughtful track. Very thoughtful track. Part of the chilled collection that I'll be doing. But everyone needs to watch it, otherwise I'm going to lose my mojo to keep putting tracks out. So make sure you do that, otherwise I'll have to go and find something else to do on a Sunday.
Well, I mean, you could...
Don't mention part benches, that's not allowed.
Darren, you could always
we
take
all watch
studio
it.
Part.
Again. No.
Have you got anything coming out on the videos or I mean, you've got your hardware jams, Lisa, but have you got anything else coming out, or is that the hardware jams the only thing at the moment?
I've got to do. I was told a couple of days today that I'm going to be doing a 10-minute video on my studio, which has got to be done for the 22nd, and music, and it's got to look pretty good. And then
who's that for, Lisa?
The Acid Clown Gardener.
For
the URL.
For Mark, yep.
Yeah. So, yeah, he just kind of told me that I'd be doing that, so that was nice. And then thinking about doing some stuff on this MPC, if I can get the camera set up, which the one I did today didn't end up working. If I can get the camera angle right, I thought I might do some live streams, either on the big equipment and then do some MPC kind of lessons or something. I don't know. Something like that.
Sounds good. Sounds awesome.
Yeah.
And so Andy's doing his MPC. You're doing your video and your song.
Yeah.
And Darren's doing his, and we've all got to watch Darren's channel. If you ever want to know what Darren's channel is, it's linked down below in the description. I am dieting. That's what I'm doing. It's wonderful. Feeling hungry all the time. It's awesome. But I'm a big fat bastard, so I shouldn't be like this. So anyway,
Rants,
I've got to get on with it.
Me too. He said, I've been polished up a lovely beer this afternoon. Well, there we are.
Well, once you start filling that case, Rans, you should wait till you've built the case, because then you'll be on an enforced diet anyway. So you just build a case, eat what you want now, then start buying the modules, and then that...
I might have to live in the case.
There's your answer.
We'll see how that goes.
Well, exactly.
All right, guys. On that rather big disappointment, I think we'll finish the show. Thanks everyone for checking us out this week. We'll see you next week. Same bat time, same bat channel. See you later. Bye.
Yeah. See you all soon, folks.
Yeah, bye.